Hi, welcome back guys. This is your friend, the MHA What If with another fanfiction. This is the move of What If Deku Believed Kacchan? All credits for this video go to their respective authors, so please support the real author. Check out the link in the description for more details. Please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this. Now let's get into the fanfic. July 15 was a fresh Saturday afternoon, in which Inko Midoriya was rushed to the hospital. She was in labor. Hisashi left his work immediately to go with his beloved wife. He wanted to be by her side in every moment of the birth of his son. No matter what, he would always have time for his wife. They were both took into the labor room. Hisashi couldn't be more excited. Nothing could go wrong with his family. At least not Rigth now. Bakugo Mitsuki and Bakugo Masaru were waiting in the lobby of the hospital for any information of their close friend Inko. The appealing woman with blonde ash hair had a sleeping baby in her arms who was just 4 months old. "We should have left him with a babysitter," said Masaru. He received a little glare from his wife. "He is too young for a babysitter. It's good for him to go outside anyway." Of course the woman was stubborn. It didn't matter if whatever Masaru could say his wife was always Rigth. They would have continued on the topic, but Hisashi walked into the room with a big smile on his face, a smile only a Midoriya could make. "It's a boy." He spoke really low, making his friends look at him, asking with a stare what he just said. Hisashi talked again with so much joy in his voice. "It's a boy." The Bakugas couldn't help but smile for the new family member of the Midoriya family. The Bakugas stepped inside the hospital room. There they found Inko on a hospital bed. She looked very happy yet very tired. Mitsuki just sighed, being able to relate. After all, she went through the exact same thing 4 months ago. Inko seemed to be in her own world, looking at her appealing son asleep in the warmth she provided, holding him like he was made out of porcelain. She was brought out of her trance by the calm voice of Masaru. "How are you feeling?" Inko looked at them with a soft smile. "I won't lie, it hurted like hell." She returned her gaze to the baby. "But it was all worth it to finally have my little angel in my arms." Mitsuki came closer as Hisashi stood beside his wife. "So, have you thought of any names yet?" Hisashi was the one to answer instead of Inko. "We have been thinking for a couple of months how to name him, and we finally decided on calling him Izuku." "The name is lovely," said Masaru, feeling happiness for the new family. "Welcome to the world, Izuku. I am sure you will have the most wonderful life you can imagine." Inko said this with a sweet motherly voice. The thing is, she was wrong, very wrong. The time passed and Izuku grew. While doing so, he developed a big love for heroes. He imagined what his quirk could be. Maybe he could breathe fire like Daddy, or maybe he could attract objects like Mommy. He was so excited to know. But his love for heroes wasn't the only thing that seemed to grow. Since his friendship with Katsuki Bakugo was almost unbreakable, Izuku felt like he had the perfect family. His parents loved him like no one in the world could. The Bakugas were always next door if he ever needed something. He found in Katsuki, or as he likes to call him, Kacchan, a big brother who always tried to protect him, which at the time was true. Izuku loved his life. He loved that everything was always so welcoming. The only thing he only dreamed for, so everything could be perfect, was to finally get his quirk. Sadly, not all dreams come true. Izuku discovered this when he turned 4. He is quirkless. That's what the doctor said to Inko and her son. "You see, people with quirk have a joint missing, and your son has that extra toe joint, which points to him being quirkless." Izuku had shock written all over his face. He couldn't believe, or more likely he didn't want to believe, what the doctor was saying. "Yes, I understand. Thank you for your time, doctor." She stood up, taking Izuku's hand and walking outside. "Mommy, can I ever be a hero, even if I'm quirkless?" It broke Inko's heart to hear her bright son talk with a voice that was almost broken. "Of course you can be a hero. Let's just try to save one person at a time, okay, bunny?" Izuku nodded, trying to believe his mother, but when he saw her eyes he knew she was lying. She wasn't looking at him with hope, she was looking at him with pity. This was the first thing to shake Izuku's perfect world, the first pillar to fall, but he still believed he had a lot of good thing in his life he could focus on, like Mommy, Daddy and Kacchan. They would never turn their back on him. Rigth. He was wrong. A couple days passed after Izuku received notice that he was quirkless. Rigth. Now he was alone with Kacchan, exploring the woods and saying fun. "Damn it, Deku. Your quirk, it's taking too long to appear." Tell it to hurry the F up. Language Kacchan. Izuku said with a slightly trembling voice. Don't language me. If the old hag can say it, so can I. As always, Kacchan was filled with pride. Izuku took a deep breath and decided to tell him. I'm sorry, Kacchan. I'm quirkless. The silence reigned for a while. Katsuki was glowering at Izuku, and the last mentioned was starting to tremble. Quirkless? Are you really that useless, Deku? I can't believe I was hanging around someone like you. You have nothing to make you special. You are completely useless. Katsuki pushed him with a little explosion, leaving Izuku's skin red and irritated. Izuku was at the edge of crying his heart out. You are just a crybaby. After that, Katsuki left. After a while, Izuku ran back home, hugging his mother. Another pillar of the world he knew fell. He was wishing, hoping with all his heart Mommy and Daddy would never change, that they would always love him and stay with him. The thing is, he was wrong once again. Inko took Izuku out for a walk. She couldn't stand her bunny being so sad, so she thought that going for an ice cream could cheer him up, and until now it was working just fine. It was a sunny day. The park was filled with kids playing, yet Izuku decided to stay by his mother's side. He was too afraid that the other kids would hate him just like Bakugo does, but he ended up playing with the other kids. He was actually having fun. He thought that he could finally relax after everything that happened. But life is a beach. Correction me, the author is a beach, and a villain decided to attack the park. The villain seemed to have a plant quirk. He was growing plants with thorns that a purple shiny color. Izuku thought the color was pretty, so did all the kids. But Inko knew better. She knew it meant poison. She decided to use her quirk, attracting rocks at her, hitting the villain in the process. The so-called villain got angry and focused all the plants on going after the woman. One thorn was all it took to bring Inko to the ground. The plants instantly disappeared. A fight between the villain and a dark-clothed hero was what everyone was focusing on, but not Izuku. He ran to his mother's side, crying, feeling scared and anxious. Mommy! Mommy! Please stay awake. Even in the pain of the poison, the woman hugged her son in a gentle way, trying to calm down his fear. Don't cry, bunny. You will make me cry too. I want you to know that I love you, okay? No matter where I am, no matter how far away we can be, I love you with all my heart, little Izuku. She kissed his forehead with tears flowing down her cheeks. She knew her death was inevitable. This poison was too hurtful. The only thing keeping her alive was the need of having her son safe. I love you to mommy. She kept trying to calm her son as she looked in front of her, seeing South Hero come close. She knew who he was and vice versa. The panicked look on the black-clothed hero spoke a lot for himself. INKO. The hero rushed to her side, ready to carry the hospital, but she weakly smiled at him. It's so nice to see you one last time, Shoyuta. No, Inko, don't say that, please don't. She looked at him and then at her son. Promise to protect him, Shoyuta. You are his uncle after all. Please promise it for me. Izuku kept crying. He wasn't hearing anything of what the adults were saying. Shoyuta had tears on his eyes, but he nodded. I promise to protect him, Inko. Inko closed her eyes, still with a smile, saying one last thing before falling limp and lifeless. Thank you. And with that, the third pillar of Izuku's world fell, leaving only his daddy to carry with everything. But that couldn't end well. The funeral of the loved by everyone, Inko Midoriya, was held a couple days later after the attack. Everyone was heartbroken knowing that such a kind and good-hearted woman wasn't in this world anymore. Family and friends were there to grieve for the lost. Hisashi had a lot of feelings at the moment he couldn't express. Izuku was crying and continued to do so since the accident. The Bakugas were also heartbroken. Even Katsuki didn't feel like attacking the boy. This was too sensitive for everyone. People started to leave, but a black-haired man called Izuku's attention. It was the hero mommy knew. What are you doing here? Hisashi talked in a cold voice, almost hissing the question. I came to grieve just like everyone else. Shoyuta answered in his normal calmed voice. You have no right to be here. You never visited her. She was so scared something happened to you because you couldn't even bother to call. Hisashi was angry at the man, and Izuku couldn't understand why his daddy was so angry at a hero. I know I should have been there more often, but she is dash. She was my sister and I loved her more than anything in this life, and I made her a promise to protect her son at all cost. He doesn't need someone who he doesn't even know. He has me, and that's enough. There was a silence, then Shoyuta spoke again. I won't fight you here, this is her funeral and she deserves all the respect on the world. After that he went to see the corpse of his beloved sister. Let's go Izuku. Izuku didn't get a say in the matter as he was being taken away by his father, who was holding his wrist maybe a little too hard. When they arrived home Hisashi let go of the boy, this last one massaged his wrist as it hurted a lot. Hisashi looked at his son, no at this boy that caused her wife to pass away with pure fury and anger. He could feel his throat burning the fire wanting to come out and burn the child completely to a crisp, but he couldn't do that, that would be too fast of punishment. Hisashi couldn't see his son anymore. He saw the culprit for the death of his wife. When Izuku looked up he was received not with a sad, mournful look. Instead it was a look cold as ice and yet it transmitted an angry fire. Maybe the little green-haired boy should have ran to his room and hide, but he didn't. He faced Hisashi all on his own now. This is when the fourth pillar felt. His father didn't show protection and safety anymore, he showed danger. Izuku will never forget what would happen next and Hisashi knew perfectly what was about to happen. Hell was about to be set loose. Hisashi glared angrily at his son. He grabbed him by the wrist with a lot of strength, hurting him with the pressure. Daddy, please let go. It hurts. Izuku said this while trying to get his wrist free. Shut up. Hisashi spoke in an intimidating voice, making Izuku shiver. It's your effing fault my wife is gone. You killed her, Izuku. You are the only responsible for this. That being said, Izuku felt tears threatening to escape his eyes as he felt his cheek burn. His dad, the only person he thought he could still trust, decided to hit him. It hurt much more emotionally than physically if he was being honest. If you weren't a useless, quirkless child, she would still be here. He was pushed to the floor as his dad stood above him. You will start to take care of your own brat. I don't care, you are still little, you caused enough trouble already, and if you dare to tell anyone about this I will get angrier, and trust me, you don't want that. He felt a kick in his little stomach, making him hug himself in pain. Go to your effing room and don't come out until morning, you hear me? His voice was shaky as he answered. Yes, Daddy. His hair was pulled back by Hisashi. From now on you don't call me Daddy, you refer to me as Sir, and if you don't, well, punishments will just be stronger, understood? Yes, sir. Good, now get out of my sight, you disgust me. He let go of Izuku's hair and the child ran away as fast as he could to his room. He closed the door and got under the covers, hugging himself, crying. Everything he knew crumbled down in days. He wanted to wake up, say that this hell was just a bad dream. Sadly, nightmares sometimes decide to come true. During the weekend, the little green-haired boy continued to be mistreated, hit, and punished for the most minimal mistake. Hisashi ordered him to clean the house. He could at least do that, but if his father didn't consider it enough, he was hit or slapped. His father aimed mostly for his back since that would be the hardest place to notice something was happening. He got a little burn on his wrist from Sashi's fire. He was told that if someone asked, he must say he got burned while cooking with his father. Izuku was just 4 years old and he was already in the gates of hell, but this wasn't the worst thing he would suffer that would come later in his life. When Monday arrived, Izuku was excited to go to school. To escape the inferno his home was. Thing is, he missed a factor. Katsuki Bakugu was his personal devil. Hey Kacchan. His voice sounded shaky yet excited that things might go his way just a little bit. What do you want, you Deku? We always go to school together, so I thought dash. He was cut off mid-sentence. Why would I want to go with you? You are dead weight, you are useless and get in the way, so get away. Katsuki pushed him and continued his way happily, not even bothering to notice the red burnt mark on his wrist, which was very noticeable on his pale skin. The greenette couldn't understand why the people who loved him and would do anything for him suddenly wanted him dead. With that, he walked to school alone. Leave him alone, Kacchan. He didn't do anything to you. Izuku may be hurt, but nothing could stop his heroic heart from acting, and when Katsuki attacked a kid in the playground, he couldn't just stand by and watch. You are trying to be the hero? Understand this, would ya? You are worthless. No one cares, not even the one you protected. He didn't even thank you. You are alone. Izuku looked behind him. Kacchan was Rigth. The kid he tried so desperately to protect simply ran away, leaving him on his own to face his best friend. Katsuki was merciless. He punched, he kicked, he activated his quirks, leaving other burn marks on Izuku's body. the small emerald-eyed boy laid on the floor. Everything hurted, but he noticed that no matter what Kacchan did, the bruises of his father hurted a lot more. He walked home, hoping that magically his mother would be there, waiting for him, ready to hug him and make him feel better. But that was just a dream that would never come true, no matter how much he wanted it. When he entered the house and closed the door, he heard his father's voice in a cold tone. "You are late, brat." Guess one beating wasn't enough for today. He simply lowered his head, hoping that maybe his father wouldn't be so angry today. "I'm sorry, sir, it won't happen again." There was silence for a couple seconds. "Yeah, I'll make sure you won't be late again. Go get the belt now." Izuku obeyed. He went for the belt and gave it to his father. As he took his shirt off and got on his knees, he felt the leather touch his skin slightly, and then he felt the pain. He let a scream out of pain. He started to shake at number 5. He begged his father to stop at 10. He stopped at 15. "I'm in a good mood now, go away already, stop bothering my sight." Izuku said nothing. He stood up and left to the bathroom to take a shower and clean his wounds the best he could, hoping this wouldn't repeat often. It did. As years passed, his father's punishment turned harsher every day. Katsuki always reminded him how useless he was, how he was never going to be a hero. Izuku accepted it. He wasn't hero material, he was dead weight, but he couldn't stop himself from helping others. A nice old lady at a flower shop allowed him to work there, which he was very grateful for, since Hisashi stopped providing food a couple years ago, telling him to deal with it, that he didn't have to maintain someone so useless. Izuku's health wasn't the best. His body always had some kind of bruise. Hisashi would give him cheap food with no nutritional value in very small amounts. He didn't win enough money to actually buy good food, so he simply was grateful for the little good things he could get. He also began to suffer from anxiety, sometimes getting panic attacks and learning to deal with them on his own. Yet in his dark void of hatred there was a small light. That light was his uncle Aizawa Shoyuta and his cousin Aizawa Hitoshi. Those two were the only happiness Izuku could get from time to time. They were busy most of the time, so they couldn't visit very often, but when they did, Izuku felt hope that maybe someday things would get better. Izuku always wears long-sleeved clothes for 2 reasons, the first to hide any evidence of what Hisashi has done, and the second to hide the damage he has done to himself in order to escape reality, to feel a different kind of pain, to continue punishing himself for not being enough, for being quirkless, for killing his mother. Hisashi did everything he could to take any belonging or photo of Inko away from his son. He said he wasn't worthy of her. Izuku agreed, yet he hid a photo of him hugging his mother, smiling truthfully, a thing he hasn't done in such a long time. That was the thing he valued the most in his life. Izuku was walking to school, hoping to go unnoticed, to simply be invisible or to blend in. Today he was going to reach his limit. He didn't know that yet, but he was going to face the most hurtful words he would ever be told in his life, and something a drunk Hisashi would allow. Today was going to be the worst day ever yet. The day at school went as always. People hated him, some said horrible things, others pushed him around. At this point he just lets them do so. He isn't important, anyone can replace him, so why bother on trying to stop them? Yet life is a beach, and decided to mess with the kid a little more. It was almost the end of the day when the teacher spoke. "So you all are going to high school soon. What are you planning to prepare for?" "Who am I kidding? You are all aiming to be heroes." The class exploded with joy, everyone showing their quirks. Izuku kept quiet, praying to any god that exists that Yui wouldn't be mentioned. As always, no one heard his prayers. "I'm going to Yui to become the #1 hero. Nothing you extras will ever be close to get. You won't even become heroes." As always, Katsuki was arrogant, putting himself above anything else. The blonde got incredibly angry at the words the teacher said. "Oh, Midoriya is aiming for Yui as well, isn't he?" Izuku kept his head low. He heard his classmates call him useless or other more mean things, because yes, he was aiming for Yui, but not to be a hero. That dream died long ago with his mother. He wanted to enter to general education to get a good job. The school was the best in Japan. If he graduated there, then he had a little hope to be normal and not the trash he was treated like. What the F are you thinking applying to Yui? You are a quirkless D. I know Kacchan, I know he would never say it out loud, but he knew what he was. He knew his place. He didn't wish to reach out of it. He couldn't even if he tried. The classes ended. Everyone left the classroom. Everyone but Katsuki, his followers, and Izuku. "You think you can become a hero, Deku?" What? "I'm not good enough for you to answer?" "I know I can't be a hero, I am for general education, maybe I could get a degree and dash. Pathetic, that's what you are. I honestly wonder why haven't you killed yourself? Maybe you will have a quirk in your next life, until then you are useless. Duh. Katsuki put his hand on the shoulder of the smaller boy, activating his quirk, burning his skin. Izuku didn't even move, he grew numb to pain. Long ago his father hurted him too much. He hurted himself too much, he could break a leg and keep walking at this point. I'm going to stop wasting my time with a Deku like you. After that the blonde left his followers wrecked behind him. Izuku put everything in his backpack and walked towards the park. He was going to see one of the little good things he has, his cousin Hitoshi. He walked calmly on the lonely road, his day being as bad as always. He walked under a bridge trying to hurry up so Hitoshi didn't have to wait that long, but then he heard a voice that made him feel uneasy. A medium-sized disguise, it's not the best but it will work. He didn't have time to run or dodge the villain. As he was trapped in that disgusting substance that was making its way inside of him, his lungs were burning trying to find air. It will last just 45 seconds, kid, then you will feel no more pain at all. He wasn't struggling, he didn't have the strength to do so, he was just hoping for a hero, any hero to save him, and for once in 10 years luck decided to help the boy. As his vision began to get blurry, he heard a voice he would recognize anywhere. You shall not fear, citizen, as I am here. He felt a gush of wind and he went unconscious. After a couple minutes he felt someone slapping his face in a non-threatening way. He woke up to see his most beloved hero, All Might. Are you okay, young boy? Yes, thank you, All Might. He looked around for something the hero could sing, finding he already did so in his notebook. I'm glad you are okay, but I must leave and give this villain to the police. In another universe, Izuku held on to All Might's leg and asked if he could become a hero. In this universe, the Granette just watched his favorite hero leave. He continued his way to the park to see his cousin, even if they considered each other brothers at this point. In this universe, Katsuki was never trapped by a villain. He arrived at the park finding Hitoshi sitting down on a bench waiting for him. There you are. Where were you? A villain almost kills me. Tell me you are joking. All Might saved me, don't worry. You could have died. Of course I worry. Are you injured? I'm fine. Izuku sat at his side, Hitoshi looking at him completely worried. I swear one day you will be the death of me, Aizu. Until then you will deal with me, Toshi. He felt his hair being ruffled, he let a small laugh escape. I finished another one for you. You don't have breaks, do you? Nope. Izuku gave Hitoshi the 20th notebook full of hero and villain data. At least he could help his cousin to become a hero, right? We are both entering to Yui, Izuku, it's just 10 months away. I still don't get why you didn't let Dad help you through recommendations. You may not have a quirk, but we could say you have an analysis one at this point. I know, but being a hero is not a dream of mine anymore. I trust you to become a hero for the both of us. I will, I promise. Izuku noticed his cousin more like brother analyze him. He knew already he was going to notice the burn mark Kacchan left and would go crazy about it in 3-2. That son of a beach did it again. Sorry to break it to you, but Aunt Mitsuki is not a beach. I swear to God I'm going to make him pay for this, for all the damage he has done to you. Become the #1 hero. Trust me, that will destroy his ego like nothing else in this world. I'm also going to make him hit himself. Repeatedly. Toshi, no. Toshi, yes. Izuku spent the afternoon happily with Hitoshi. They walked for a while, ate some ice cream, and found a box of kittens which Hitoshi took home. They both knew the house had already too many cats. Luckily Aizawa couldn't say no to cats. They parted ways heading home. Hitoshi invited Izuku to his, yet the smaller boy refused. He wishes he went with Hitoshi. When Izuku arrived home, the first thing that hit him was the smell of alcohol. Then he heard his father talking with someone. Izuku knew this particular friend of Hisashi. That man had a paralyzing quirk. The paralysis could last up to 1 hour. They had fun sometimes paralyzing him and kicking him, watching his pain expressions and the panic in his eyes. He hated this man. Brat, go and cook something quick. Yes, sir. He quickly obeyed. He learned to cook long ago for his own good. He prepared katsudon knowing to hide something in the fridge as he could later at night warm it up and eat something good for once in a while. He took the food to both mans that were drinking way too much. Hisashi, can I punish the brat today? Izuku gulped. You know what? Do whatever the F you want as long as you don't break anything. I don't care what you do. Hisashi started watching the TV. The man looked at Izuku with an evil grin as he took the boy to his room. Izuku couldn't piece together why was he taking him to his room. That was until he was thrown at his bed and suddenly he couldn't move at all, and the man was getting over him. Then everything clicked and he paled. This couldn't be true, he could stand anything but this. Warning: raping scene ahead. Skip if you want until you have the bolds again. I always wanted to know what it felt like to do it with someone so small. You will enjoy it, kid. The man liked all along the boy's neck, making the boy disgusted and panicked. No, 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 please don't do anything but this. He felt powerless. He couldn't move, neither could he make sound to scream for help. The man began to take off the clothes of the boy, touching the bruised skin. Would you look at that? All of this because you are a bad boy. No, you are a toy that I can play as rough as I want with. The man began to take off the lower clothes of the boy, who was praying for this to be a horrible nightmare. Your body is so small, it looks like it could break with the smallest touch, and that makes me hornier, kid. He left the boxers of the boy on, as he started to take of his own clothes, all of them. I'm so hard because of you. I would use your mouth for a while, if you don't mind. I do mind. Please stop. The older man sat on the bed holding his hard D-dash. The man moved Izuku so he was facing him, the face of the little boy in his member. He pushed the kid's face to his pee-pee, rubbing it against it. I want to see how much you can handle. Who am I kidding? I want to see how much I can enjoy you. He opened Izuku's mouth as he pushed his member inside. He grabbed a handful of the boy hair, pushing him forward, marking a rhythm he liked. The boy was spilling tears. He was being raped and no one could save him. It's so warm and small. I love it so much. He was pushing too far. Air was running out. So the man pulled out for Izuku to breathe. He couldn't lose his toy just yet. He forced himself in the mouth of the boy once again. He continued until he went as far as he could, coming inside the boy, forcing him to swallow. After that he pulled out. At this point Izuku was crying. The tears couldn't be stopped. End this already, please. Please. Very good job, but I want to take you whole before I leave this house. The man retired Izuku's underwear. He lied the young boy down on the bed, the face of this one facing a pillow. He began to kiss the back of the boy, massaging near the entrace. So little, so tight. I will claim you right now. It's not like anyone will anyway. Izuku tried to speak of only being able to mumble in an incoherent way, yet for that his butt was spanked. It hurted. You know I was going to prepare you, brat, but not anymore. You better keep quiet or else. The man rubbed his pee-pee tip on the entrance, being hard for him to enter, yet as just the tip entered he pushed, completely not knowing the meaning of gentleness. It hurt like hell, making Izuku cry harder. You are thight. Common, don't tell me you don't like this. It must be really nice to have my big D inside you. The man pulled back, almost coming out completely, only to push it once inside again. He didn't care if he was hurting the boy, he was enjoying it. The warmth of a body that was not prepared for something like this felt too good for him. He continued moving his hips, raping the boy who never did anything wrong, continuing until he cummed again inside the young one. After that he pulled out, getting his clothes. I want to repeat this again someday, you know? I will come soon for another night like this. After that he left the room. Izuku could feel his body able to move once again. His first reaction was to curl up into a ball and cry harder, shaking violently. He wanted to puke. That was so disgusting and repulsive. He could feel a liquid going down his legs. It was that man's cum, but not only that, blood came along as well. His unprepared body couldn't take on something like this without being damaged. The only thing he wanted right now was to disappear forever. It's over. Izuku puked and cleaned himself from anything that man has left. Even though he grew numb to pain, he was feeling it in a horrible way inside him. It burned. He couldn't stand correctly. His legs couldn't carry him no more. He throwed away his bed sheets. He didn't want them anymore. He was now sitting on his bed, adding more cuts to his arms as his tears didn't seem to run out. What did I do to deserve this? Oh, I can't go on like this. For a moment he remembered what Kacchan told him. I honestly wonder, why haven't you killed yourself? He thought why, but he couldn't find a reason other than, I'm sorry Shoyuta, I'm sorry Toshi, but I can't keep up like this. He took a notebook and a pen as he began writing his suicide note. One was for the only persons in this world who loved him. The other one was for the one who gave him the idea. Tomorrow was going to be the last day of Midoriya Izuku, or at least that is the plan. The small boy spent most of the night writing 2 suicide letters. He knew one might be thrown away, but he still cared, and he still wanted to say goodbye. Even if Kacchan hated him, a small part of Izuku still believed there was good in him. and that he would be a good hero someday. After all, life is full of surprises. Rigth? At morning he walked to school a little limp. It hurted, but he has dealt with twisted ankles before, so this was nothing. He waited until it was recess and everyone went out to leave his letter to Katsuki. He really hoped he would read it. He wanted to disappear in the last happy place of his childhood, the secret base he and Katsuki had, that eventually turned into his and Hitoshi's. The letter for Hitoshi and Shoyuta was given to the mail before he arrived to school. He could just hope they would understand his suffering and that they couldn't find him. After school ended, he walked to Katsuki and gave him a fast hug while no one looked and ran away before anyone could see. He began walking through the forest to the happy place, leaving a confused and slightly angry blonde behind. Katsuki arrived at his home confused as F-. Why in the world would that nerd approach him? But not only that, hug him saying not a single word and walking away before he could react. Was he in the wrong universe or something? He shook his head, thinking the nerd finally reached insanity. He took out his notebook to make his homework when a piece of paper caught his attention, most likely because it was in an improvised envelope. Just for curiosity, he decided to open it and read the letter inside. He thought that maybe he had a secret fan or something. He wished that was the case. Dear Kacchan, I know you will lose interest in this letter since it's very long, so let me be direct to get your attention. I'm going to listen to your advice. I'm ending my useless life. The blonde paled immediately. This had to be a sick joke from the nerd. This couldn't be true. Deku wouldn't kill himself because he told him to do so. Rigth. He decided to continue reading. I'm sure that was hard to take in. Sorry for that. First of all, I wanted to tell you this is not your fault. Even if you told me to do it, at some point I would have done it anyway. It was a coincidence that something made me reach my limit the same day. I will tell you that later. I know you may be thinking that your bullying is what pushed me to this. Well, throw that idea to the trash because you were the easiest thing in my life to deal with. I know you, Kacchan, you are observant. You knew I had too many bruises. Bruises you didn't do. Katsuki was a little surprised that the nerd knew, that he knew most of the bruises he had weren't done by him. He questioned himself sometimes, how did the green net got hurt that much? Yet he never cared enough to ask. Actually, you were heaven compared to what I lived at home. I know it's going to be hard to believe this. Well, for Aunt Mitsuki and Uncle Masaru? But surely you weren't fooled by my father's acting. My father turned into someone completely toxic after Mom died. He blamed me for her death. Hell, I blame myself for her death. If I was enough, she would be alive. Anyway, after Mom passed away, he started to hit me. A lot, actually. Anything I did set him off, so I got punished every day. That's why I had no reaction to the burn of your explosions. I grew numb to pain after a while. Katsuki gulped. He was feeling horrible. Izuku's life was total hell and he just added salt to the wound. After some years of dealing with everything, I began to cut myself. I added more damage to the equation. It just felt rigged to be mistreated. I think I may be going insane by now. I know that me being a hero set you off. The thing is, the dream of being a hero did with my mom. Any heroic act I did, well, it was mostly my instinct acting before my mind could stop it. I'm sorry that bothered you. Katsuki was shaking a little bit. It was hard for him to swallow what he was reading. Not only was he a devil to someone who already suffered abuse at home, but that person was apologizing to him in a suicide letter. He felt like the biggest a-hole right now, and actually he kinda was. I dealt with everything I could, but last night. He noted the writing got shakier, like he writed while trembling. There is no way to put this on a sugar-coated way. My dad allowed one of his friends to abuse me, RPE me. I really don't want that to happen again. I can't deal with that again, so I'm ending everything. But there is one last thing I want to tell you. Thank you for being my first friend in the world. Even though you grew apart, I still care for you. I know you can be a great hero someday, but let me give you a little advice, okay? Try to be kinder or you will scare people away. When they see you, they won't feel relieved. They will fear you. Oh, one last thing, please don't show anyone this letter. It will make you look guilty of my actions because of the bullying. That will damage your way to become a hero, and you have a great potential. I already screwed up enough things, you know? I don't want Yukara to be added to the list. There is another letter for evidence of my dad being toxic and the doing of his friend. This one is for you to keep or burn. Do as you wish. Rick, now I'm in my happy place. I want to leave this hell. In a place where I only have good memories. Be a hero, Kacchan. Go to the bright future I never had a chance to see. Deku. Katsuki held the letter tight in his hands. He was an a-hole, a living nightmare to someone who just had terrible luck. and the boy still made sure he wouldn't get in trouble for this, that his future won't be damaged. He was the devil, and an angel whose wing were cut off protected him after all. He didn't know when he started to cry, but his mind immediately clicked on something, our happy place. He knew what that was. He stood up as fast as he could and began to run as fast as he could to reach Izuku before it was too late. He needed to apologize for everything. He needed to make things right. Izuku was more of a hero than he would ever be, but he could begin his redemption by saving him, by becoming someone like Izuku, a true hero at heart. Hitoshi arrived home, noticing a handmade envelope that made him curious. Shoyuta wasn't home. He needed to deal with some students who were failing. Sometimes Hitoshi felt bad for his dad, but he remembered that soon enough he would be the student causing his dad trouble, and honestly that sounded fun. He sat down and opened the letter. Dear Shoyuta and Hitoshi. Hi, I really don't want to say it directly, but I'm going to end my life today. I reached my limit, I can't go on anymore. It's just too much. Many things went through Hitoshi's head. He was shocked. This was a suicide letter from his brother. He was angry, completely believing it was the blonde's fault. He was anxious, he needed to stop this, but he didn't know where to look. I want both of you to get my father and his friend Burendo in jail. I am confessing everything here. My dad is someone toxic. After mom died he began hurting me. I was his stress relief toy that wouldn't ever get to broken, but well, I completely shattered. All of this led me to doing self-harm. I have always known is wrong to do it, but I couldn't help it. It was kind of relieving in a way I can't understand. And about my father's friend, he has a paralyzing quirk. He used it on me and forced me to have SXL relations with him. In other words, he raped me. Hitoshi was boiling with rage. First, his brother was being tortured all his life. Second, he did nothing to prevent it or to help. Everything happened right in front of him, and he couldn't do a thing about it. Because he didn't notice. I want to thank you both for being in my life. You were the only true love I received. You were the only break I had. My life was like a hurricane, and you were the silence in the eye of it. I wish I sought for help before, but it's late for me to do that. I'm leaving this world in our secret base, Hitoshi. You will find my body there. I rather have you not seeing it though. Shoyuta, I know that you promised mom to protect me. Don't worry, I will tell her you did excellent. She will be very happy to see me and hug me again. I will be watching you from above. Hitoshi, as my last wish I want you to become the #1 hero. You have the capability to do so. I just know it. I wish you good luck even if you don't need it. Hitoshi took his dad extra capture gear and began to run. He could save his little brother. He will save him. Izuku was climbing the tallest tree he could find. Uncowing 2 boys his age were running there to stop him. I always loved sunsets. It's a good sight to say goodbye to this world. Hitoshi was calling emergency, already giving them the direction. As he was getting close, he saw his brother jump with no hesitation. He tried to the capture gear, but it was too fast for him to act in time. Because he was also far away, he watched in horror. The world seemed to go in slow motion. He heard explosions and looked behind him. Katsuki passes Hitoshi quickly. He propelled himself with his explosions. He tacked Izuku before he hit the ground. Yet such a sudden stop going at a great speed did force some of Izuku's bones to break. Katsuki tried to land in a gentle way, yet he couldn't. He rolled on the ground holding Izuku tight. He got to his knees holding Izuku, crying. Don't you dare to die on me, Izuku. Help is coming, please hold on. Izuku was confused. Why did Kacchan save him? Why is he crying? Why doesn't he want to let go? Why is he even here? Hitoshi was as confused as Izuku. He started to get closer to use the capture gear. To keep in place at least some bones that broke, he looked at the blonde, that looked actually destroyed emotionally. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Please stay. Let me get things right for you. Both adolescents made their best trying to keep Izuku alive. An ambulance arrived and Izuku was taken to the hospital. Katsuki and Hitoshi never leaving his side until he was took in for an operation for all the broken bones. Katsuki and Hitoshi were in the waiting room. Now they have to hope for the best and deal with each other on the topic of Izuku. Izuku was immediately treated, and the 2 boys who came to his rescue are with each other. Katsuki doesn't know who this purple-haired boy is, but Hitoshi knows perfectly who he is. The blonde is about to hear a little bit of what is in his mind. For that he took him outside, knowing that the blonde is very loud, and that he himself is also very loud when angry, and while he was filled with anger, the blonde looked at him with a little confusion and big remorse. Hitoshi was the first to break the silence. You and thank you. Katsuki was surprised by the bluntness. The teen in front of him said two different statements. Thank you for reaching him before something worse happened, but F you for everything else you have done. Katsuki gulped a little. What do you mean everything I have done? I know all your doings to my little brother Bakugo. Don't try to pretend you don't what I'm talking about. The only thing that went through Katsuki's mind was F someone other than the people at school that supported his doing, and sometimes joined in, knew the a-hole he was, that could mean trouble. I'm curious of three things. 1. How did you know where to go? 2. Why did you go? And 3. Why do you look truly remorseful? I mean, you have done it for 10 years with no problem. What is different? Are you finally satisfied? Or do you actually needed him to die so you could be FING happy? Have you learned that your actions have consequences? If Katsuki didn't have enough of a guilt trip with the letter, this boy was making him feel sick. The worst part is that he was sick of the things he mentions, the things he did for years without a second thought, because that nerd never seemed to give up. If it was just I'm a hero and that's why I did it, well, that's bullshit. You are no hero. To be honest, you are one of the villains in his story. Was he really a villain? He never thought about it. He was so mad trying to stop Deku from being a hero, he never tried to be one himself. He has always been a villain with a destructive quirk. We don't have all day. If you are going to answer, do so. If not, leave already. You are not welcomed here. He gave me a letter. Hitoshi didn't let him finish. Izuku, don't you ever call him Deku again. He is a lot of things but never a Deku. Sorry. Izuku left me a letter. He was apologizing for making me mad that he is so damaged and I only made things worse. I'm the biggest a-hole in this world. You know what? You are Rigth. I am the villain in his story. I was the one who told him to jump. I basically pulled the trigger. You did what? And you still have the guts to show your face here? Katsuki flinched at the sudden change on the volume of the purple-haired boy, but he couldn't deny he deserved this. I know I have no right to be here, and you probably won't believe me, but I'm sorry, I truly am, because from your reaction he didn't tell you I gave him the idea. He asked me not to show anyone my letter so my future wasn't going to be damaged, even when I made his life worse. When I attacked him, when I crushed any hope he had, he still bothered to apologize for making me mad. I should be the one apologizing for everything I did. He didn't deserve anything of what he lived. I was jealous that he is more of a hero than I would ever be. He deserves to be a hero, not me. I will become someone better for him. I know that won't fix my actions, but at least it's a place for me to start. Hitoshi looked at him, trying to search for any lies in his word. He was surprised he couldn't find the slightest one. Katsuki felt tears of frustration trying to escape. He didn't know how to handle emotions, and he has never felt regret. He felt awful and he just wanted for it to go all away, but he knew that it would not until Izuku could forgive him for everything. Let's get back inside. Maybe they have an update on him. You can stay, but he wants you to leave. You will do so immediately. Katsuki nodded, following the other teen, hoping for the best. Izuku didn't feel any pain. He felt like he was floating. He looked around. He could swear he was surrounded by clouds. Everything was so peaceful and so appealing. Anyway, he thought he heard something. He looked around, trying to stand on the clouds, which he actually could do. Bunny. The voice was still fuzzy. He could swear someone was calling him like his mother used to. No one called him Bunny in such a long time. He felt a hand on his shoulder. It was such a soft touch. Hello, my little bunny. Izuku looked behind him to find his mother smiling at him. He felt like he could cry of happiness. His mother hugged him back with all the love he was missing for 10 years. I missed you so much, my little baby. I wasn't expecting you here so soon. Izuku felt protected. He then noticed something around him. It was a pair of white wings coming from her mother, giving him warmth. I missed you so much, mommy. I needed this. Your hugs. Your love. Everything. Inko kissed his forehead. I'm sorry. Bunny, I know you went through a lot of bad things. I wish I have been there with you. I don't care. Uncle Shoyuta took great care for me. And I'm with you now. I want to stay with you forever. No, Bunny, you can't stay. It's not your time yet. I can't go back. I don't want to. Here is such a lovely place. Please don't make me go. Inko just held her baby thigh there. I promise, Bunny, your life will become better and happier from now on. trust me, okay? I will always trust you, mommy, no matter what. Then you will go back, but for now I just want to embrace you and love you. Izuku giggled, feeling like a kid again. What a coincidence, I wanted the exact same thing. He could swear they spend hours just hugging each other. He didn't know if this was a dream or if it was real, but he never wanted it to end. He began to feel sleepy in such a warmth he couldn't help but fall asleep. He did hear one last thing before he fell asleep. We will meet again, my little bunny. Just so you know, you have my blessing, baby. It's time to wake up. And he did, in a hospital room, still as peaceful as ever. When he woke up, he didn't feel any pain thanks to all the medicine he was receiving. He could see he is wearing hospital clothes. His arms are bandaged up, one has a cast. He can feel bandages around his chest. His legs don't seem to have any damage that need covering. He heard the door open. He saw his brother rush to his side holding his hand. Kacchan stood at the entrance. He looked unsure of if he could enter. When their gazes met, he simply nodded. Kacchan stepped inside. I'm sorry I tried to dash. Kacchan interrupted him. Please don't apologize, you are not the one who has to do it. I do. I made you miserable. I hurted you because I am jealous that you are more of a hero than I will ever be. Katsuki got on his knees and put his head on the ground, his hands at both of his hands. I beg for your forgiveness. I don't deserve it. Not now, but I will fight to be worthy. Please teach me to be a hero like you. Teach me to be more like you. You are the one who deserves to be a hero, not me. Kacchan, please stand up. It's weird seeing you like this, and I won't forgive you. There's nothing to forgive. I was never mad at how you treated me. I deserve dash. Hitoshi was the one to interrupt now. No, you don't, Izuku. After all you had to deal with, you still treated everyone in the kindest way possible. You will never deserve what you were put through. I'm sorry I never noticed. I could have helped you, but I waited too long and I almost lost you forever. Please don't do this ever again. Izuku smiled softly. I won't. After all, I saw mommy again. She was so happy to see me. She told me that things would get better. If she says so, then I have hope that's how things will go. Katsuki and Hitoshi looked at each other. They both know Inko is dead, and if Izuku saw her, that means that for a moment Izuku died and the doctors didn't tell them anything about it. They looked back at Izuku. He looked so happy. He smiled like he never has. They were worried? Yes, but seeing that smile gave them hope that things would get better. Meanwhile, Shoyuta arrived home. He found a letter and was now rushing to a hospital guided by the tracker on Hitoshi's phone. He needed to see Izuku safe and sound with his own eyes. He wouldn't fail Inko again. Aizawa entered the hospital. Being a hero, he said he was in the case of an attempt of suicide and that he needed to see the child in question. The nurse doubted a little but eventually gave him the information of how the patient was treated. The information said the next. Patient, Midoriya Izuku. Situation, unstable. The call asking for an ambulance was made at 5:27 p.m. The caller identified as Aizawa Hitoshi, cousin of the patient. He explained that it was a suicide attempt and the patient was injured. The patient was brought in at 5:43 p.m. He was taken to immediate surgery. His left arm is broken. A couple of ribs are also broken. He was taken care of without any interference. The patient has several bruises and burns around his body. Both arms are filled with cuts. Contact with a mental hospital has been made. We are in the wait of the authorization of a guardian. At 7 p.m. the heart of the patient stopped. Reanimation was successful. The patient has been diagnosed with anemia. Further notes will be added. Aizawa was furious. His beloved nephew attempted suicide, has been doing self-harm, was being abused and neglected by his father, and a son of a beach decided to RP him. He stepped into the room. Two teenagers looked at him. He recognized one as his son. The other one was a blonde that had the expression of a sad puppy. Dad? I thought you were still at school. I finished earlier than expected. When I came home and you weren't there, I figured you were with Izuku, but I found the letter and followed the tracker on your phone. I'm glad you made it in time. As always, Aizawa's voice lacked emotion, at least to the blonde, yet Hitoshi knew his father could explode in any second. After spending so much time with him, reading his emotions was so easy. He did. He pointed at Katsuki. Thank you, whoever you are. Hey, Uncle Shoyuta. Everyone looked at Izuku. Sorry for making you worry. I should be the one apologizing. I promised to keep you safe, and I failed you, failed your mom. I owe you the greatest life. You don't deserve less. Uncle, it's fine. Mom knows you did your best. I told her you did. She has been watching. She couldn't be prouder of everything you have done. I will take part in your case. Your father and that other son of a beach will go to jail. I'll make sure of that personally. I couldn't expect less, Rigth, uncle. One more thing, I will become your official guardian. I'll make sure of that. Silence lasted for a few minutes. Thank you so much. You should rest now. Don't worry about anything. You two follow me. He leave the room followed by Hitoshi and Katsuki. Can any of you claim to be a witness of Hisashi's actions? Hitoshi lowered his head. Sorry, Dad, I never noticed anything. Katsuki raised his head. I can. At the changing rooms anyone could see how bad his body was because of the abuse. I should have acted sooner. From now on I promise to protect him from anything. So will I, Dad. Very well, I leave that to you. I have 2 a-holes to catch. With that, Aizawa ran away through the buildings with his first target in mind, Hisashi Midoriya, and with a little luck the other a-hole would be there so he could strike 2 birds with 1 stone. Luck was on his side. Aizawa entered Trough Izuku's room. It seemed so lifeless. He kept silence to listen if Hisashi was alone and awake. You did what to my brat? You told me I could do anything I wanted, and I didn't break anything. You know what? Whatever, as long as you at least pay me next time, do as you please. Aizawa just added another crime to the list. He had already called the police to explain the situation. They would be here soon. For now he needed to immobilize both adults. That should be easy. He activated his quirk aiming for Hisashi's friend. He was quick to immobilizing and leaving him unconscious. Paralysis is not a problem anymore. I didn't expect you to show your face here, after years of being basically a shadow. Shut it, you are under arrest, but please give me a reason to use the force on you. There was an unspoken battle between them, each waiting for the other to strike. And what are you arresting me for? Being a father for a lonely child? I know all your bullshit, Hisashi. The I'm a good person act does not work with me. You are going down for abuse, negligence and piracy. You have no proof. Your son, if enough proof, and I have a witness, you are going to rot in hell. He launched his capture gear, trapping Hisashi, who only laughed. Why would some cloth stop me? He breathed fire to burn the gear. To his surprise, the gear turned to stone-like material. Like my new update? You can't escape, Hisashi. I'm making sure you both go to jail immediately. Police sirens could be heard outside the house. Soon after, Aizawa let the police in, who took both culprits away. Now he had a lot of paperwork to do, but he didn't mind this time. After all, it was totally worth it. After a week of endless paperwork, Aizawa got the 2 sons of beaches in jail. Hisashi was in for abuse, negligence and recently PRSTTN. His friend, who was identified as Takashi Baruto, was in for raping and pedophilia. They won't know anything of them, never again. Aizawa also made the paperwork to have Izuku as his legal child. He was now his guardian, and he accepted that Izuku got into a mental hospital. He knew Izuku needed this. And as always, the little bean was comprehensive of his decision, even agreeing that he needed help, and the day to transfer him from the regular hospital to the mental one finally came. Do you really have to go there? You could come back to school, and if anyone dares to look at you in an offensive way, I will end them. I know that, Kacchan, but I think I do need to go there. I need help to my mental state and to stop harming myself, because even if I know it's bad, I don't seem to stop. Katsuki hugged him, like he was a delicate piece of glass, afraid that he would break him again. You know that I will go visit you every day, don't you? Please do. I'm going to get bored if you don't. Am I interrupting something? Of course, Hitoshi arrived, showing his presence that way. Of course not, Toshi. Katsuki stepped aside and left them alone to talk. He had his time. Hitoshi deserved his time too. I really wish you came home with me instead of a mental hospital. I know, but I need this, I really do. Maybe I can help someone feel better there. Hitoshi laughed slightly. You are not even there, and you are already planning in how to help someone. You really are something different. What can I say? It's what I do. I swear you are the literal embodiment of sunshine. Izuku received another hug. He could get accustomed to it. Then Aizawa entered the room, ruffling the greenette's hair. Ready to go, little bunny? Ready as I'll ever be. With that, they walked out of the room. Katsuki joined them on the way out to the transportation, waiting for Izuku. We'll see you soon, Aizu. You bet I'll be the first one there tomorrow. I promise Bunny nothing can go bad from now on. Izuku believed that last statement now more than ever, and he didn't know it yet, but he was destined to change 3 lives in that hospital. A hurt mother. Another boy abused by his father. A girl who went crazy because of the fear around her. He was also destined to change 1 more life, but that needed a little bit of Katsuki's intervention, the last person that needed his light in his life. A boy guided by hatred and regret. The trip to his new home, to call it somehow since mental hospital sounded a little wrong, was pretty calm. For once in his life nothing bad happened, and he couldn't be more grateful about it. When he arrived, he was taken directly to his room. After all the injuries he got at his failed attempt weren't completely healed, he still needed rest, but was good enough to leave and receive treatment for his different traumas, being that he still thought low of himself or some repercussions due to the RPE he suffered and of course the abuse by his father. Katsuki was helping as much as he could with how his bullying affected Izuku. He didn't come out until the next day. He was guided by one of the nurses to the cafeteria area. The hospital had the idea that allowing the many patients to socialize between each other would be a good way so they didn't feel trapped. After all, they couldn't leave the hospital until the doctors saw enough progress. Izuku sat alone as he usually did. After all, he did never socialize with no other than Hitoshi. Katsuki was a recent addition and for Izuku that was enough. Yet a blonde girl came to him curious. She seemed very energetic. Hey there. Oh hi. Izuku was a little confused on why would anyone want to talk with him. Out of here no one really wanted to. How did you got so hurt? You got in a fight. Are you a bad boy? Because I like bad boys. Yeah, this girl isn't what he is accustomed to. Oh no, I'm not a bad boy, sorry to disappoint you. And I got hurt because this is a sensible topic but I failed at a suicide attempt. That does for the broken bones the rest. Well, my father isn't a nice person. That last statement called the attention of a black-haired boy, with too many scars. The girl spoke once again gasping. Why would anyone try to hurt you? You are really small and cute. It's like if someone turned a puppy into a human being. That made Izuku blush a little. He didn't know how to respond. Thankfully the black-haired boy came to his rescue. Toga, leave the boy alone. You are clearly startling him. I'm just making a new friend. You never want to talk. Izuku was confused. These 2 people seemed so opposite, and somehow they were friends. While he was in his mind the other 2 kept arguing. Do I issues? Stop introducing me like that. Or even better, don't introduce me at all. Common, you cannot tell me you don't want to befriend this guy. Even you consider him cute. Admit it. For me nothing is cute. Say that to your phone pictures of your lil brother. Puff Toga. I win. The blonde girl raised both arms in victory, as the black-haired one just sighed. Why do I keep putting up with you? 'Cause deep inside you of me. Happy face. But like the real reason. The blonde gasped offended. You are heartless. Yes, so. Izuku had to admit he never liked to see people argue, but this was extremely entertaining. The blonde one talked again. I introduced ourselves. How about you introduce yourself? Am I Mito Dash? No, he didn't want anything related to his father. Aizawa. I'm Aizawa Izuku, and I'm sorry but I didn't hear your introductions. I can introduce you as again. No you can't. The black-haired boy decided to take the lead this time. I'm Honoro Tuya but call me Dabi, and this obnoxious blonde is Toga Himiko. You forgot to mention you have to dash. The black-haired boy, now known as Dabi, clasped his hand over the energetic blonde he now knows as Toga. He missed that the first time. I won't let you say it twice. The blonde rolled her eyes and liked the other hand, making Himto take his hand off her mouth. Disgusting. Damn it, Toga. That's disgusting. Toga rolled her eyes again and returned her attention to Izuku. Can I call you Zuzu? I want to call you Zuzu. Can you at least be polite? You just met him, have a little formality. Actually, Izuku spoke. I don't mind, no one has really shown formality to me before, so call me whatever you want. The other 2 would be lying if they said that didn't broke their hearts at least a little bit. Zuzu, I promise to protect you for the rest of my days. You are too pure to leave you on your own. I kinda wanna be your personal bodyguard now. Izuku tilted his head confused. But I mean, I'm pretty useless. I can't protect anyone. Not even myself. I failed to take my own life, and well, I'm quirkless. I'm going to stop you there, Zuzu. You are not useless, no one is. Some can be a-holes, that's not your case. And if you failed to die, then that means you still have something to do here, Rigth? He has never thought about it that way. Does he really have a porpoise? After all, did he really needed to do something in this world? Dobby's voice took him out of his mind. And about being quirkless, we both would have that instead of our quirks. Izuku looked at them in disbelief. Why would they want to be quirkless like him? Look around, Zuzu, no one comes close because they know what we can do. They fear us, everyone fears us. Izuku did look around, and Toga was Rigth. The tables near were empty because no one wanted to come close to those two. Some of them looked at him with pity and fear. Have any of you ever hurt anyone here? Of course not. You think because I look like this I would dash. Then I don't get why they fear you too. You have been really nice to me, and if you mean no harm fearing you for your quirks or appearances. Stupid. Any of the other patients who were looking at them stopped doing so. Dobby and Toga were speechless. No one has ever told them something like that in their entire life. Thank you for saying that, Zuzu. Really, thank you. Toga was about to cry, hearing that was such a nice feeling. I'd like to see your quirks later. Won't you run away like everyone else? Well, you didn't hit me or treat me like the scum of society after knowing I was quirkless, so I think we are on the same boat. This was a very weird way of making friends, but they were genuine friends, and that's the only thing that matters. The recently made trio of friends were now in the backyard of the hospital. So what are your quirks? Toga took the lead. Well, I can transform into anyone I drink the blood of. Everyone thinks it's a villain's quirk and that I will hurt them to transform, but I have never done that. I wanted to be a hero, but no one supported me, and my parents said I was crazy, so they got me in here. Well, I think you can be an amazing hero. You could do infiltration mission or undercover ones. You could even take the form of another hero. That way the villain would be expecting a certain attack. You would have the element of surprise on your side. That sounds very nice, but it's a villain's quirk. A quirk is just a quirk. The type doesn't define if it's a villain's or a hero's. The actions do. You are still young. When you get out of here, you could try to get into Yui. They will see the potential others are missing. Izuku remembered he had a similar conversation with Hitoshi. Maybe he and Toga could become friends over the fact they were both believed to be villains because if they're quirks. Yui. But how? I don't have that much power. I may have a helping hand there, don't you worry. Dobby decided to speak. I don't like my quirk. It's like my father's but stronger than he would ever be. He is an a-hole who wants to have a perfect creation to surpass All Might, because he's sorry but never could. Dobby flickered a small flame in his hand, and for Izuku everything clicked together. Endeavor, he is your dad, Rigth? How did you? Well, everything points to it. Flame like your dad's but stronger, surpass All Might because he never could. That describes the number 2 hero to me. Honestly, I never liked him. My dad had a fire quirk and is also pretty bad, so yeah, kinda reminds me of him. You know what, Izuku? I just like you even more now, but does my flames remind you of? Oh no, not at all. Yours are blue like Shapire's. They are more unique, but theirs are red, very common, and as dumb as it may sound, theirs are cold and yours is warm. That made Dobby smile a little. He liked his quirk just a little bit now. And I suppose you took your mother's maiden last name. How are you? I did the exact same thing, that's why, after all. They both talked at the same time. I don't want to be related to him in any way. Toga squeaked. That was like the cutest bonding she will ever see. Both boys just realized they have more than they thought in common. I'll present you my mom someday, Izuku. I think she will like you. I'd like to present you mine, but she isn't really here anymore. Dobby had his fed up face. I'm sorry I didn't dash. It's okay, she loves me, she is up there watching me. For her and for everyone who cares for me, I will move on, I will get better. Toga spoke. Well, add us to the list because we are now your bodyguards and we care for you. So we are friends? You bet we are, Izuku. Izuku smiled in a pure way. It was almost blinding. His new friends were dealing with a cuteness overload. Holy shit, he is so sweet. I think I just got diabetes. Dobby language. Don't corrupt Zuzu. He is a literal sunshine. I'm more worried he will corrupt me and make me lose my dark persona. The trio laughed, they were just being adolescents for once, and it felt amazing. During the afternoon Izuku was visited by his brother and Katsuki. It was pretty fun to see both sides in defense as they saw an scarred boy talking to him with a crazy smile girl at his side. They thought they were bothering Izuku and none of them doubted to go there in a meaningful way. The thing is that when Dabi saw this he moved Izuku behind him in a protective way thinking that they were here to hurt Izuku. Toga simply growled at them. As always Katsuki was the first to start the fight. But what the F do you think you are doing near him? Dabi was the one to counter with the same aggressiveness. What the F do you care? Mind your business. Hitoshi entered this fight. Excuse me, he is our business, get away from him now. Like hell we are Leah? Toga fell under the mind control Hitoshi had. The last mention grinned. Walk away girl. And so she did. Hitoshi focused on Dabi now. Izuku grabbed Toga giving her a little pinch to get her out of the trance. He spoke as low as he could explaining the situation which only made her want to laugh. Now she was like Izuku an spectator to this useless drama. Get away from him Scar. Why don't you make me Blondie? Oh we will make you leave him alone. They continued to argue. Both parties knew they couldn't fight there, it was a hospital after all, and at some point of the pointless threats both Izuku and Toga started to laugh. It was so funny they looked like angry dogs barking but never actually throwing the bite. They only laughed harder when they spoke in unison. What the F are you laughing about? Toga responded as Izuku found it hard to breathe because how much this entertained him. You all look like angry chihuahuas. Izuku fell to the floor after that statement laughing as hard as he could holding his stomach it hurted because of this. The trio that was fixing was now confused on what was happening and so they waited until Izuku calmed down and sat on the floor. So sorry I didn't said anything but it was so fun to watch. You are both aiming for the same thing, no one here is a threat to me, that is Hitoshi my brother and that is Kacchan my best friend. He pointed respectively. And this are Dabi and Toga my new friends, they thought you were a threat to me and vice versa, I should have said something but this was so dumb. Dabi made an offended gasp. Izuku I thought we were friends, and you have already tricked me, how could you? He was being very dramatic, he winked just to let them know it was to continue the fun. Only Toga and Izuku giggled. Hitoshi and Katsuki were really confused, they couldn't get this humor. Wait, so they weren't bothering you Aizu? Nope, they are so nice. Yeah we are. We are Zuzu's personal bodyguards. Katsuki just glared. I still won't trust any of you. Yeah, like I would trust an angry Pomeranian who screamed die like 10 times during our fight. Dabi was going to love getting to Katsuki's nerves. You called me what? Angry Pomeranian, was I not clear or something? F you. I don't swing that way, at least not for you not my type. Hitoshi couldn't help but snort. Katsuki looked betrayed. I'm glad you came to visit me, but I surely didn't expect you to fight just as you arrived. Katsuki growled. Not gonna apologize. Didn't expect you to Kacchan. Anyway, we brought you something Aizu. Hitoshi showed him a box full of candies, chips, and some cupcakes. They surely don't have many things like this here so yeah there you go. Thank you so much Toshi. Hitoshi put the box aside so Izuku could hug him. He didn't expect to have Katsuki added to the hug. I know you made those cupcakes Kacchan, you deserve a hug too. That was supposed to be a secret between Katsuki and Hitoshi but Izuku was too smart for them. They all walked to Izuku's room to leave the box. The room was a little crowded. Well for Izuku too is crowded and now there were 4 other people in his room, but honestly he couldn't feel more comfortable, maybe this was a home after all. At night Toga and Dabi made their way to Izuku's room. Why? They wanted to have a sleepover, in other words do what normal adolescents do. Izuku was ready to let them in and he did so. He was glad Hitoshi decided to bring him the snacks earlier today, they were going to enjoy this. So, what do people normally do in a sleepover? Well I don't know Zuzu, I have never been to one before. I think none of us has. Silence lasted a couple minutes. Well that's okay, that means we can have our own original sleepover rig? You accomplished the impossible, sunshine during the night. Zuzu you are just too sweet. They saw some videos on their phones. At first they were of kitties playing, but somehow they ended up watching a horror-themed video. Izuku is too gullible and he thought all that was mentioned was real. He was shaking in fear. I don't want that monster coming after me. It smells fear, it's going to get me. Izuku was getting a little panicked and a little anxious. That is never a good mix, never. Zuzu, it's okay, it was just a video. What if it's not? What if it rails and it hurts any you? He was hyperventilating a little, to which Dabi reacted quickly. Izuku, I need you to breathe and calm down, okay? I can't. His hyperventilating was getting worse. He was too afraid to think and used what he knows to calm his panic attacks. His chest hurted, it felt like he couldn't breathe. Dabi took Izuku's hands and put them on his chest. Izuku, I need you to focus on me. Try to copy my breathing, okay? Take your time but focus on me. Toga just could watch Dabi's attempts to help Izuku. He seemed to know what he was doing. It took many minutes, but Izuku's breathing was stable, yet he was still shaking a lot. Izuku simply hugged Dabi, trying to find peace. Toga decided to join, which made Izuku feel safer. How did you know what to do? My mom suffers panic attacks as well because of the a-hole I have as a dad. I learned so I could help her. Izuku nodded and decided to keep quiet. I'm glad you knew how to help Zuzu. I couldn't have done anything. None of them will ever now when they fell asleep, but they kept hugging Izuku. He felt safe that way. The bed may be small for them all, but they managed for Izuku's sake. They all stayed together until morning when the nurses found them like that. They allowed them to oversleep. It seemed like they needed it. It was a weird first day here, but he was making progress. He made friends. He was going to help them get through their problems, just like them would help him. Today was the day he could restart his life. That's something he will never forget. A week has passed since Izuku got into the mental hospital, since he made actual friends who didn't judge him, since he didn't feel trapped anymore, since he finally felt like he was free from his horrible past, but his past still haunted him. Izuku opened his eyes and looked around. He was at the park. When did he go to the park? He saw his hands. They were little, like they were from a toddler. He heard screams. He knew this moment he was frozen. He couldn't do anything. He saw his mother get attacked once again. He saw her die once again. Suddenly darkness consumed him. He was now at home after Mommy's funeral. He was crying his heart out. He couldn't remember Hisashi's words, but he sounded angry. He remembered his wrist aching. Then like a flash, every hit was being relived. He could swear he was feeling the flames burn his skin, his blood flowing through his bruised skin. Him going unconscious after too much damage. He was drowning in that gross slime villain, too weak and too useless to do anything to set himself free from a possible death, his lungs burning, his vision fading. He was in his bed, paralyzed, a bigger figure over him. No, not this again, please, not this moment again. The disgust was back as the bigger figure did whatever it pleased with his body. He wanted this to stop. Please stop. He woke up shaking, hyperventilating, curling into a ball, unable to hear what was happening around him. He felt paralyzed again, that he was going to be attacked once again. He couldn't hear Toga's cheerful voice turn into a worried voice. He didn't saw her rushing to get Dabi's help. He didn't notice Dabi coming in. He didn't knew that he was crying that much. Me, Tfos. Dabi tried to reach him, but just as his fingers brushed Izuku's skin, Izuku slapped his hand away. Don't touch me. Get away. I don't want you near ever again. You won't hurt me again. His mind was playing tricks with him, changing from his friends to the image of that man. He couldn't take it. Remembering this, living that experience again was too much for him. Dabi and Toga went to get the doctors. As much as they wanted to help, there was nothing they could do. A couple of nurses and a doctor walked into the room. They tried to calm Izuku's panic attack, yet the greenette couldn't focus on them. He was too afraid. The nurses had to hold him in place as Izuku screamed for them to let him go while the doctor injected him with a tranquilizer. The duo was allowed in when the tranquilizer kicked in. Izuku was now peacefully sleeping. The duo was very worried, but they wouldn't be getting answers anytime soon. The best they could do was wait by his side until he wakes up, hopefully feeling better and not in the middle of a panic attack. Aizawa was notified of the severe panic attack his now son had. He rushed to the hospital the moment the doctors told him the tranquilizer effect wore off. He left his class at Yui. They were going to be heroes someday. They could deal without him for a couple of hours. When he entered the room, he went to Izuku's side, ignoring the two other teens in the room who looked at him with curiosity. Izuku tilted his head towards Aizawa. Shouldn't you be teaching Rikth now? Yeah, but if they can't deal without me for a couple of hours, then how are they expecting to become heroes? You are just going to expel whoever destroys something Rikth. Also that. Izuku gave a really small soft laugh. I'm really glad you came. Actually, I wanted to give you a couple recommendations for heroes. His head turned to the duo who hadn't said a thing yet. Aizawa looked at them trying to see that potential. Trust me, Shoyuta, I know they look like they could bite, but in reality they are just fluffy puppies who wouldn't hurt a fly. I am offended, Izuku. Of course that would be Dabi's answer. What else would he answer? Zuzu, we can bite if we want to, but we don't, at least not to the people here. Yet. That doesn't make you scarier, Toga. Toga gave a small huff and Aizawa sighed. What did you see in them, kid? Give it time and you will see it too. I know you are busy and all, but can you come train them? I can grade the papers of your students while you do it. Izuku, I cannot dash. Sad puppy eyes. Fine, but if I don't see potential nor progress, I will stop. Izumu smiled again. Thank you. Zuzu just got us a teacher for free. And that's exciting because? Aizawa looked at the pair of adolescents. Kid, how did you manage to befriend two opposite persons? Izuku simply shrugged it off. After Aizawa returned to the school, the pair decided to take turns on watching over Izuku. Since the two Rikth now could be too overwhelming, Rikth now it was Toga's turn. How are you feeling, Zuzu? Need anything? Toga, it's fine. I'm fine, everything is okay. It's just, you looked so frightened, and I couldn't do anything to help. Hell, Dabi couldn't do anything. You were terrified like someone was trying to kill you and dash. Izuku sighed, moving on his bed, leaving a free space, giving little pats as a sign for Toga to sit with him, which she did. Okay, what's bothering you? I couldn't help you at all, Zuzu, I already told you that. Well, yeah, but what is actually bothering you? It's not just me, I noticed. It is. What else could it be? Toga was wearing her smile as she always did, but not all smiles are true. Toga, please, you can trust me, you know that. I do. Bet there is nothing to talk about, I'm fine. And once again, Izuku's genius mind clicked. You are lying to me. I'm not. You know, before, well, I tried to suicide, I always smiled and said that I was fine when everything was terrible, just like you are doing Rikth now. You are reading me like an open book, aren't you? Yeah, I think I am. Toga sighed, not knowing how to start. For a while there was just silence. Izuku just gave her a comforting look, giving her time to think everything through to let it out afterwards. It's just that, all my life I was told I was going to be a villain, that I was useless, my quirk would be the end of me, and I don't know why, but sometimes I think they are Rikth, I am useless. Izuku kept quiet. He knew Toga need to let all out. And when you appeared, things got a lot nicer, you know? I finally felt like I belong, I have a reason to be. But then I felt useless and alone again because I can't help you. I couldn't do anything to help you. Only Dabi could calm you down and I just watched. I couldn't do more. Izuku saw her starting to tear up but still remained silent. A hero is supposed to help everyone, to have a use, and I can't even help you, and people were Rikth, you know? I will never be a hero. I'm never gonna get out of here. Toga began to cry and Izuku hugged her. Well, it's okay to have doubts, but please don't call yourself useless. Maybe you can't calm my panic attacks, but you made me feel better with myself. You are broken, Himiko, we both are, and sure it hurts like hell, but one day we will find all the pieces, we will build each other until we are complete again. After all, weren't you the one that told me no one is useless? Toga simply hugged Izuku back, allowing herself to cry and break. You know, Himiko, sometimes you need to be sad before you can be happy. You have never let yourself be sad, now it's the perfect moment. They stayed in the hug until it was Dabi's turn. He was very confused, yet he decided not to ask. This was personal, they will tell him whenever they feel ready to do so. Toga Himiko has been broken for a very long time. She never bothered to pick up the pieces, she simply hid all those pieces away, yet Izuku was able to find them. Things won't change from the night to the day, but at least she can finally start fixing herself piece by piece. And the best part of it is that she doesn't have to do it alone anymore. She finally has someone pushing her to move forward to a brighter future. A future that feels in reach more than it has ever felt before. It was the weekend, that means everyone had free time including Hitoshi, Katsuki and Shoyuta. and they were all going to visit the little Izuku, and that also means visiting the two friends that are always by his side. They didn't expect to enter the room and find both boys braiding Toga's hair. "Hi." Both Toga and Izuku greeted in a very energetic way, while Dabi simply moved his hand. "Aizu, what are you doing?" "Learning how to make braids." Izuku sounded so happy it seemed unreal. Yes, in the past he talked as someone happy, but that was an act most of the time. This felt so real it was heartwarming. Aizawa interrupted with his never-changing serious voice. "You might want to hurry up, or I'm going to change my mind training you too." Dabi kept his same expression while Toga gasped excited. "We are training already?" "If you hurry up, yes. If you don't, then I will wait for another day." "You don't have to wait. Braids are done, let's go." Izuku giggled a little. To see his friends so happy was one of the best things in his life, especially after the talk they had. "Well, you are all problem children, so I need you to stay calm during the trip, am I clear?" Dabi spoke confused. "Wait a moment, what trip?" Aizawa simply rolled his eyes. "It's a hospital, kid. You can't train here. I asked for permission to move you three from here to Yui grounds. You might want to hurry, we don't have all day." Izuku's eyes sparkled. He was going to Yui at least for some hours. This was a dream come true. The whole trip to the most famous hero school was mostly Izuku fanboying about how good the school is, how many heroes graduated, how impressive the system is, and more things like it. The rest of the teenagers simply smiled at the enthusiasm the small greenette radiated. When they arrived, Aizawa asked them to keep quiet as he guided them to a battleground. "Okay, Dabi, you will go against Hitoshi, Toga, you go against Bakugo, Izuku, you can just watch and take notes if you like." Izuku nodded, sitting beside Aizawa while Toga spoke. "Wait, you aren't giving us previous training? Any tips at all?" "The instinct is the best teacher you will ever get. Do your best. I want you to believe this is a real life or death situation. You are on the real battlefield right now. Use your surroundings to your favor, and please try to immobilize your opponent instead of creating physical damage. I don't want to deal with Recovery Girl today. That being said, begin." Katsuki launched almost instantly towards Toga with his explosions. Toga knew a hand-on-hand combat was impossible, so she ran towards the buildings in the arena. She searched a fight place by instinct. It was the best to hide in places like this when your opponents are bigger. "Okay, Toga, you can do this. It's just like when you ran away from the bullies at school. What did you do back then?" She thought for a moment as she heard the explosions getting closer. "Tire him up. If he is too tired to attack, I should win. First, I need a route where he won't look nor be able to follow me without me noticing." She looked to the street and saw the entrance to the sewers. "It's my best shot. There, I can have part 2. Make sound in order to distract him in many places at once. If he is confused, he can't strategize." She took a little rock and threw it to call Katsuki's attention. Then she ran and entered the sewers. As it was only for training, it wasn't as disgusting and gross as it should have been. She had the ways to do it now. She only had to put her plan into action. Meanwhile, Dabi and Hitoshi were having a hand-on-hand combat. They would have never guessed they both had great knowledge on the different techniques they existed in this kind of fight. None of them used their quirks yet. They were testing how much of a fight the other could give. For both, it was more than what they expected. Dabi launched forward, aiming for a low kick. Hitoshi moved to dodge. This was getting teary and boring for both of them. Hitoshi spoke to end this quickly. "Too afraid to use your quirk on me? Who are you to say dash?" Dabi went completely still, his mind blank. His body refused to listen. "What is happening? I need to move." "Sorry for the probable panic you are feeling. I'm just gonna immobilize you and everything will go back to normal." Hitoshi walked calmly towards Dabi. Dabi wanted to move desperately. He agreed on being trained because Izuku convinced him that he could be the hero Endeavor will never be. Yet he has another reason to be a hero. Rei, his mother, was a reason he will fight for. He is going to tell her today that he was taking the path of being a hero. He couldn't be beaten that easily. Through his mind passed many images: his father, the one he will surpass; Toga, his first true friend; Izuku, the one who believed he would be a great hero; and Rei, the one he will fight for. Before Hitoshi could touch him, his blue flames erupted all around him. Hitoshi ran away as fast as he could, yet some of the flames reached him, leaving some burn marks. Dabi still couldn't move, but Hitoshi couldn't reach him either. In a certain way, they were both immobilized. Aizawa declared a tie. "You both did great. You have made so much progress, Toshi." And Dabi, "That was amazing." No one has been able to do something like that under Toshi's control. Dabi smirked and offered Hitoshi a handshake. That was a good fight, we should rematch someday. Hitoshi took his hand, accepting his handshake. Yeah, I think we should. Izuku continued to fanboy, writing on a notebook Aizawa gave him, returning to his place to see the end of Toga's match, yet Toga was nowhere to be seen. Where are you? Katsuki may be going through a change of being a better person, but he can't help to be very competitive, and he was getting frustrated that his opponent was nowhere to be seen. He heard another sound near an alley and propelled himself towards it to find himself with nothing again. What the hell, Blondie? Where are you? Is invisibility your quirk or something? Toga was doing amazing on not getting too tired while moving through the city. Her physical strength isn't the best, but she has a lot of stamina. He has to be tired already, right? He must be reaching his limit at least, but what if he isn't? Would Aizawa still want to teach me how to be a hero? Her mind was being filled with doubt, but she couldn't give up now. If one person saw potential in her, then she was going to make them proud. She had to win this. This isn't working, I need another strategy. Okay, what do you know, he can explode a lot of things. He is also not supposed to harm me. Closed building. If he is in a closed building, he won't be able to explode anything without harming him or me in the process. With that in mind, she ran into the nearest building. Katsuki saw her and rushed to catch her. He entered looking around. It was a little dark, but he could see a figure move. This ends here, you hear me? I'm tired of running around. Well, no more running. We will end this rig here and right now. An explosion made its way towards Toga, who barely dodged it, hiding behind something. The building trembled because of Katsuki, and that's when he realized he couldn't depend on his quirk, which he has always done. He needed to do it by himself, and he wasn't very good at that. Now the battleground was equal for both sides. One trick pony, aren't you, Blasty? Shut it. Toga came out of her hiding spot running with her fist up, ready to punch Katsuki, who was completely ready to block it. The thing is, the punch never arrived. Instead, he received a kick in the place the sun never touches. He fell to the floor, curling up with both hands in that zone. What the F was that? Aizawa interrupted, declaring Toga the winner. My victory. She waited until Katsuki could stand up again, then they walked back with Aizawa. Excuse me, how the F was that a fair win? That is the most dirty trick. I never said it had to be a fair win, and in the real world you will find a lot of dirty tricks. Get used to it. Izuku went towards Toga. You did amazing. But I couldn't see you. Most of the fight were you? Oh, I used the sewers to move around, that way no one could really know where I was. That is so smart. And you didn't even have to use your quirk. Well, you had no way of using it anyway. You were lacking blood to transform. Maybe your hero suit should have a way for you to store blood and also take it away. It could make things a lot easier for you. Also dash. Aiza, you are rambling again. Sorry. He went with Katsuki. Kacchan, you did very well too. Your explosions are strong, and you made progress. The past you would have continued to explode the building, but you didn't. You knew any of you could get hurt and tried to find another way. I'm so proud. He hugged him happily as Katsuki messed his hair. He didn't feel like he deserved to hug Izuku just yet. Aizawa spoke. This training was to see if you had hero material. A hero must find a way to get out of trouble. Toga and Dabi showed this, not being stopped by a stronger opponent or an unknown quirk respectively. However, a hero also tries to create the less damage possible to the place they are fighting in, since civilians could still be there. Bakugo, in a past this would have never crossed your mind from what I've been told. You are changing for good. Keep it up. Hitoshi, I am glad to see that you can predict an opponent's based on your own knowledge. I am very proud of you. Everyone seemed satisfied with their result. They all had a lot to improve, sure, but they would get there in time. Izuku explained to them how they could improve, what hero suits would fit better for each quirk, etc. All of them focused on Izuku until he finished. Well, kids, I hope you have time to think on how to improve on your own and not depend on Izuku. Now I need to get you three back to the hospital. Uncle Sho. Yes. Can we get ice cream? He was about to say no, but Izuku had his puppy eyes and no Ona can deny anything to that. He sighed. Sure, we can get ice cream. The trip back to the hospital was filled with chatter, adolescents being adolescents. While no one was looking, Aizawa smiled a little. This kid seemed to have suffered a lot. Watching them like that was just a nice warm feeling. When they reached the hospital, the trio said their goodbyes and entered back. They all headed to their rooms to get a shower and rest. Later, Dabi went to Izuku's room. "Hey Zuzu, can I come in?" "Sure." He walked in and sat beside Izuku. As always, Iz was a reflect at this point. "I'm going to tell my mother about me becoming a hero, and I wanted you to come with me. You are that final strength I need." Izuku smiled softly. "Of course I'll go with you, Dabi. You have my full support." "Then let's go now." Izuku nodded and followed Dabi through the hospital until they reached Rei's room. Dabi knocked. "Mom, it's me, Tuya. I brought a friend with me I want you to meet." There was no response, but Dabi walked in, signaling Izuku to follow. "Hi Mom." "Hello Tuya. It's always nice to see you." "Mom, this is Aizawa Izuku, a new friend of mine. Zuzu, this is my mother Hanoro Rei." "It's a pleasure to meet you, Hanoro-san." "Pleasure to meet you, Aizawa-kun." "Izuku is fine." The two boys sat down. "Mom, I have something to tell you. I'm going to be a hero." "Tuya, why would you want that? What if you turn into someone like him?" "Don't worry Mom, I don't care of being a top hero. I care about helping others, helping people like us, fighting to give them the life we deserved." "Tuya, are you sure about this? So many things could go wrong. He would get what he wanted and dash." "He won't Mom, because to him I don't exist and I don't care about being the #1 hero. That is not for me. At first I didn't want it. I hate the idea of being a hero as much as you do, but Zuzu here changed my mind. He believes I can be hero that does things for others, not for fame." "Why because of him? What would he know about what we've been through?" "More than you think, Hanoro-san. I also come from an abusive household. I have a certain disgust for fire as well. My father had a fire-breathing quirk, and after my mom passed away, he blamed me and made my life impossible for 11 years. He allowed something to happen that will haunt me the rest of my days, and even after that I believe Tuya can be the hero his father should have been, because even after all you both suffered, he still has a heart of gold. I understand you may be against heroes because, being honest, not all of them are good, but people like Tuya can change that if the chance is given. Can you please give him an opportunity?" No one said anything for at least 10 minutes until Rei spoke again. "I will support you on this, Tuya. If he believes in you, then what kind of mother I would be if I didn't believe in you? Just please promise me you won't turn like him." "I promise Mom, I will never be like him. I will give us the happy ending we deserve, Mom." Dabi stood up to hug his mother. They both needed to talk this at some point instead of just hating it forever and trying to avoid it. Izuku smiled with certain nostalgia. For some reason Rei reminded him of his own mother. For a moment he saw her make his smile wider. "And Hanoro-san, don't worry, the bad guy always gets what they deserve, even if it takes a long time. Mine took 11 years, but after that I have lived nothing but good things. Your time will come too, and I have a feeling it's going to be sometime soon. Izuku, can you come closer?" Izuku did so and ended up joining the hug. "You also deserved a hug. Thank you for the new perspective. You truly make a difference. And if you are able to move forward, then I must try as well. Feel welcome to visit me anytime." "I will, Hanoro-san." Izuku felt in his mother's arms again. He felt so happy and warm. He didn't know it, but in the eyes of 3 persons he was the greatest hero to ever exist. After all, he was accomplishing a goal he didn't even knew he had. A hurt mother could finally begin to heal. A boy abused by his father could finally get free of his past and create his bright future. A girl who went crazy because of the fear around her could finally stop caring about the fear and focus on the love. Yet a boy guided by hatred and regret continued to feed his hate and keep everyone out. Izuku still had one more person to save, but the time for that will come. For now he needs to break the chains of his own past that keep pulling him back into awful memories. Katsuki decided not to visit Izuku today on his free time. Izuku was making progress and Katsuki was very happy about it. Yet he still felt horrible, because the guilt was still eating him alive. He could have done something sooner if he wasn't such an a-hole. He could have ignored the fact that he was quirkless and still be a loyal friend by his side, but he didn't. He could have asked about the bruises he didn't make but were there. But he didn't. There are so many things he could have done, but he didn't, because he was the biggest idiot in existence. Right now he was walking around the city heading to the forest. He needed to clear up his mind about everything. He knew the guilt wasn't going anywhere anytime soon. "You always screw everything up. You had one single job and failed miserably." Katsuki stopped walking towards the forest, instead he walked towards the voice. A part of him was curious, the other part of him wanted to protect whoever those harsh words were meant for. After all, he knew what words like that could do to someone. He wouldn't let that happen to anyone else if he could do something about it. I'm sorry, I just dash. You what? I'm sure you made me fail on Porpoise after all your work had a better grade. And no, I swear it was a little mistake. I'll do better next time. Katsuki heard some knuckles crack. I'll make sure you will. When he looked where both of the voices came from, he saw a boy about his age with black hair get punched in the face by a taller boy with dark blue hair. The dark-haired boy fell to the ground because of punch. Katsuki decided to interfere. But what the F? Do you think you are doing, you extra? Nothing you should care about. The boy on the ground looked confused. The only thing that he could think of was why someone would want to help him. He wasn't worth it. Leave this guy alone before I beat your butt extra. You are trying to play hero, aren't you? I bet you bark but you don't bite. The guy with blue hair activated his quirk. Blades seemed to grow from his palms, but before he could do anything, Katsuki used his quirk on the ground, creating a cloud of dust and smoke. He used that to blind his opponent and run away with the dark-haired boy. When they got far enough, Katsuki stopped, and so did the boy he saved. There was silence except for the gasps both gave to recover their breath. Eventually the dark-haired boy spoke. Thanks, man. Really, but why did you do that? You don't even know me. Katsuki remembered Izuku at that moment, the brunette with a heart bigger than himself, someone who didn't care about getting hurt as long as he was able to help anyone who needed him, someone that didn't care if anyone treated horribly, he would help that person out just because. Because you looked like you needed help. I don't need another reason. That's very manly, dude. Bakugo Katsuki. Oh, I'm Kirishima Aijuru, and thanks again. I would have been beaten up if you didn't appear. Why didn't you defend yourself? Well, I'm not worth it. I always screw up, and when that guy appears I can't fight, I simply freeze, I can't move. Katsuki swears he saw Izuku for a moment. Hey Kirishima, you plan to be a hero? Yeah, just like everyone else, but I think I should back out. I can't face danger, not like you did. Katsuki sighed. What if I help you train? Let's train for a month. If you still freeze in danger, then I let you back out. If you can fight that fear, by then you are going to become a hero, deal? You barely know me, why are you offering me this? You have what it takes to be a hero. A friend of mine did too, but he didn't. Like you, he felt he wasn't worth it either. I couldn't stop him, but maybe I can stop you. It's just a month, what can you lose? Kirishima smiled a little bit. It's a deal then, Bakugo. Let's train together and see where that leads to. Bakugo offered his hand and Kirishima took it. I'll make a hero out of you. Was that a Mulan reference? Maybe. They talked for a while, exchanged phone numbers, and decided to start training the next day. Instead of both going their separate ways, they spent the afternoon together getting to know each other, building trust, so the first training session wouldn't be very awkward. Hey, what's your quirk, Kirishima? I should focus on how to help you use it tomorrow. Oh, well, I can harden my skin like a rock, see? He hardened his hand and returned it back to normal. Why didn't you use that against the ocean hair guy? Well, my quirk has a limit. His doesn't. He would have used his blades until I broke it. Wasn't pretty. Katsuki started to get angrier than usual. Kirishima acted like a nice friendly guy, and an idiot was bullying him. He wouldn't stand that. He was like that before and he was going to change. This is his starting point. Well, after we are done, that son of a bitch won't even know what hit him. I don't think I can face him. Then I will until you can. I don't fear some stupid hand blades. My explosion will break those in a second. You are very strong. I've never seen a quirk like yours. A quirk doesn't make you strong. Even someone quirkless could fight that a-hole. Really? I mean, a quirk is everything these days. Katsuki smiled a little. Yeah, really, I know someone quirkless that would beat him. It doesn't matter how strong a quirk can be. If you can't think and strategize, you are doomed. I've never thought about it that way. I should train your strategy too. A teacher I know would fail you if you couldn't use strength and brains at the same time. Sounds hard. It is, but when you get used to it, things get easier. Katsuki spent a couple more hours with Kirishima hearing his stories until it was late, and both went back home after saying goodbye. They both arrived home in a good mood. Kirishima's mom was happy to see her son smiling again. Meanwhile, Mitsuki was confused to why his son didn't arrive, screaming and angry as always, but she was also relieved to have some peace in the house for once. Today it was training day, and as much as Izuku loved to go with them, he decided to stay this time. He could provide an analysis another day. He had a plan while his friends and brother were away. He walked through the hallways with some food and tea from the cafeteria. A nurse helped him, noticing that the small boy was having trouble on carrying most of the things. He was heading towards Rei's room. He wanted to make her feel comfortable in this place. She seemed lonely. A visit wouldn't harm anyone. After a couple minutes everything was set and the nurse left after Rei told her it didn't bother her to have the boy there. "Why are you here?" "Well, I wanted to make you company. Dabi is busy with training, so I wanted to make up for the time he can't be here." "You are a very sweet child," Izuku hummed in response as he served the tea for the both of them. "If you don't mind me asking, Miss Rei, why do you never come out of your room?" "Oh, I don't feel like I deserve to be out east. I think of this place as a prison." "I get why you think this would be a prison, but I don't think that is the reason, is it?" Rei sighed, drinking from the cup of tea. "No, it's not. The reason is a very complicated topic for me." "That's okay, you don't have to tell me, but you should come outside from time to time." They ate lunch in silence. However, it wasn't awkward at all. It all felt calm. Rei was considering what Izuku told her. Izuku was waiting for the smallest sign of approval to take her outside. Izuku looked through the window. "The view of the garden from your room is perfect." "Yes, I do enjoy the view of the garden. All the flowers, all lovely. We could go out for a little while and enjoy the flowers." Izuku waited for an answer. "Maybe another day, Izuku." That was progress. At least she was considering it. "Oh, I want to show you something. I'll be back in no time." Izuku rushed out of the room to get a notebook from his own and returned to the mother's room. "I have been working on this lately. I used to do analysis on heroes and villains to help my brother come up with fighting techniques to counter certain quirks, or to enhance his own, but I realized there is more that can be done, and well, check it out yourself, miss." Izuku opened the book and showed her the Dabi section. It had a review on the quirk, but it also contained detailed drawings on support items. The one to stand out was the one of the hero suit. "I know Dabi is powerful, but the heat of his flames can hurt him, so I thought that having a cooling system to have his temperature in check all the time, that way he won't overheat or burn himself." "This is very accurate. You should show him this. You should build this for him." I couldn't do that. I don't have the experience in building, and it's just an idea. Even though it is possible to make, I could never accomplish something like this. Izuku, I think you can do it. You should try. I'm sure Tuya will be grateful." "Well, I can give it a shot. Let's make it a surprise for him." "Actually, I think you could help Miss Rei. We can surprise Dabi together." "That sounds nice. I guess this can be a secret between us until we give it to him." "Sure thing, Miss Rei." It took them 2 weeks to create the jacket part of the hero costume Midoriya designed. Aizawa once again got beat by Izuku's puppy eyes and gave him anything he asked for. That was in the support course at Yui. "Okay, it's almost done. I just need your help for the final touch, Miss Rei." "And what would that be, Izuku?" Izuku pointed on several small pieces of metal inside the cape. "This are all connected through the inside of the fabric. I need you to use your ice in this main zone. Just please don't freeze it, just let it cool little by little. I'll tell you when to stop." "Alright." Rei placed her hand where Midoriya told her to. It took around 10 minutes before Midoriya told her to stop. "Okay, so if everything works correctly, the metal plates will detect when the body is overheating and immediately use the cooling to help it regulate when the body reaches a normal temperature. Again, the cooling system pauses until it's necessary again. Also, the metal has a very high heat resistance, so does the fabric I used. I hope it works. Even if it doesn't, Tuya will appreciate it, and if something fails, you can always try again." "Yeah, I need to try this outside. Will you come?" "I'm afraid not. As much as I'd like to be there, I still don't feel like I should not yet." Izuku simply sighed. "I understand, miss. I'll do it near the garden so you can see it through your window." "That's very nice of you, thanks." Izuku smiled and got out of the room to find Dabi and Toga to show them what he has done. He hoped Dabi would like it. And of course that was going to happen. Even if Izuku did a cupcake as a gift, their friends would see it as the biggest achievement to ever happen. "Dabi! Toga! What's up, Zuzu?" "I did something. But can we go to the garden to show it?" Both nodded and followed the smaller boy to the garden. "So what is it?" Izuku looked at an specific window. Seeing Rei there, he quickly turned to Dabi. "I built this with the help of Miss Rei. It's support gear for your future hero costume. I know you get overheated and this will solve it." You just try it on and tell me what do you think. Dabi was a little confused because how did neither him or Toga noticed Izuku working on support gear and his mom didn't told him anything either. Alright, let's see what you did, little Zuzu. Izuku beamed, giving the jacket to Dabi, who then put it on. Toga gave a teasing whistle and a wink. That's the best you are ever going to look. How nice of you. Sarcasm could be seen kilometers away. So how is it? Is it too tight? No, looks fine, but I don't really know if it's the perfect measure. I can change anything if you ask for it, even if it's the color. I just though black suits you well and it's look great on you. At least that what I think and dash. Zuzu, you're gay mumbling. Sorry, wait, gay mumbling? Half of what you said was how good Dabi looks with it. Oh. Dabi snorted as he moved to test how comfortable it felt. Don't worry, it's perfect. Now let's test it, shall we? Dabi created flames around him. Controlled because they were in a garden, he didn't want to burn it. Eventually he began to feel the hot of his flames, however the heat disappeared in seconds. Zuzu, marry me, this is perfect and I love it. It worked. Izuku completely ignored Dabi's joke proposal. He was way too happy with his success. This is part of my hero costume, I'll figure how to do the rest. I already did if you want any ideas. Hey, why is only Dabi getting a costume idea? I want one too. Bold of you to assume I don't have one already. The Problem Trio nickname, sponsored by a very tired Aizawa, returned to Izuku's room where he showed them his notebook with all his ideas. They spent hours checking what they liked and how Aiza could make them. The Greenette has amazing ideas, he just needs a little help to make them come true. One last time, Kirishima. Sure, Bakugo. Kirishima hardened himself again. He and Bakugo had spent time training on basic self-defense. Now they wanted to test Kirishima's durability and make it last longer every time. Right now his time limit was 15 minutes, which is impressive, yet both boys wanted more, plus ultra, right? During the 2 weeks they have trained, Katsuki noticed that Kirishima is a quick learner since he dominated the basics in those 2 weeks. Now they just needed stamina, resistance and agility, and Kirishima doesn't know this, but the angry blonde has been in his school seeing who bothered his friend and showed Gem why they should never do that again. Kirishima has been a lot happier. Stop, I can't hold it any longer. Katsuki stopped his explosions as Kirishima returned his skin to its natural state. Oh man, I didn't improve. You will trust me. Katsuki hasn't realized how much he had attached to the Sunshine Boy in just 2 weeks, because if anything bad happened to him he would kill anyone responsible and then himself. I still can't thank you enough for teaching me, it's so manly of you without wanting anything in exchange. Katsuki smirked. I do want something in exchange. What it is? That we both go to Yui together. Kirishima smiled widely. We will. And we'll be together at the top. Sounds like a plan. They had some more time before they both went home and decided to just rest and spend time together talking about the simplest things like favorite heroes and such. Even if this just started as a protect, train and make up for my mistakes for Katsuki, it was turning into a friendship, at least for now. The future has a more special relationship planned for this too. The month of training Bakugo offered to Kirishima was over. Both boys were very pleased with their progress. Kirishima didn't freeze up anymore and his analytical thinking was getting better. It wasn't the best, but it was good enough for now. Bakugo was happy to see the progress Kirishima and Izuku made, and because of this he began to feel better with himself, not quite yet forgiving himself from all the damage he had done. But he was getting there. Today Kirishima was going to see how all his training paid off. After all, he had enough luck to avoid the dark blue-haired boy for a month with quick tricks, but his luck ran out and when school ended he was cornered and brought to the back of the school. You didn't think that you could avoid me forever, did you? Maybe you did. You are stupid enough to believe that. To the surprise of the bully, Kirishima didn't look afraid. He looked more determined than ever. He couldn't tell what he was so determined about though. I know I couldn't avoid you forever, but it was worth the shot. Finally you managed to speak without stuttering. Knowing no one would be around that part of the school at the moment, the blue-haired boy activated his quirk, feeling the familiar blades in his palms. I'll show you a lesson, weakling. I don't know what gave you this confidence, but I will make sure to take it away. Bakugo usually went to Kirishima's school after his own ended. He knew something was wrong after waiting 10 minutes. Kirishima never takes that long without telling him he will need a little more time, so he decided to go search for Sunshine Boy. He ended up hearing him and following his voice to the back of the school, seeing Kirishima's bully there trying to pick a fight. Kirishima kept quiet after the statement of his bully, hardening his skin waiting for the hit to come. That didn't took very long, and he faked feeling tired after a few hits, deactivating his quirk. The bully didn't knew about his resistance. He was going to use that against his favor. I thought you learned not to use your quirk against me. It's useless, you can barely take hits. The bully pushed him hard and Kirishima allowed himself to fall to the ground. He had a plan, and if he needed to act helpless for it to work he would. See? You are nothing, it just took a couple of hits to make your quirk wear off. When Bakugo saw this, he wanted to interfere, thinking Kirishima wasn't ready to face Ocean Hair. However, he stopped himself from doing anything the moment his eyes met Kirishima's. The black-haired boy shaked his head for Bakugo. This was his way to tell him, don't interrupt. And even if he didn't want to, he stayed right where he was. What are you shaking your head for? Thought you could do better? That you could be anything other than the weakling you are? The bully was getting closer to Kirishima, and when he was close enough he activated his quirk once again, stabbing his hand on the ground and throwing the dirt and dust in his bully's face, making him close his eyes, irritated by the dust. That was one of the first things he learned. Play dirty if you have to, villains never play fair. What the F a hole? While his bully tried to wipe the dirt out of his eyes, Kirishima quickly stood up and kicked, aiming for the knees, making his opponent fall. He didn't hesitate to use his weight to keep the bully down and pull both hands of his opponent behind his back. The bully couldn't get free or fight back. Kirishima won. I want you to listen carefully to what I am about to say because I don't want to repeat it. I am not as weak as you say I am. You are not as strong as you think you are. You have tormented many students in this school for your own benefit, but that ends today because I will never let you do that to me or anyone else. While I am here, no one will fear you again. After that, Kirishima let his hands go and stood up to go with Bakugo. The blonde was filled with pride. Not only did Kirishima put Blueberry BSRD in his place, but he also made sure that no one would get bothered by that a-hole again. He knows he thought him well, and when they were out of the school he hugged Kirishima. You did fantastic. That was amazing. I'm so proud of you, Kirishima. Kirishima smiled, returning the hug. Would you say that what I did was very manly? Bakugo let out a small laugh. The manliest thing I have ever seen. The both continued to their usual meeting. They were supposed to train, however, they were too happy, so they decided to celebrate Kirishima's win the whole afternoon. After all, they enjoyed each other's company like it was the best thing in the world. And maybe that was the best thing in the world for those two. The months seemed to flew by in the blink of an eye. Aizawa thought Dabi and Toga all he could to prepare them without giving away the whole exam. Izuku kept creating many useful artifacts for the future hero costumes of his friends and brother, and of course he was getting better. He would still suffer panic attacks sometimes if something triggered it, but he knew how to deal with them. Bakugo and Kirishima considered each other equals. The two of them will enter Yui, they just knew it. Aizawa and Hitoshi had a surprise for Izuku. They will show him that later. Dabi, Toga, Bakugo and Kirishima entered Yui ready to take the exam. Dabi was applying for the second year of heroics, not the first. There was a spot there since Aizawa expelled some of them, and due to age and experience Nizu allowed him to apply for that year of heroics. The other three licensed to present mixed presentation, getting slightly annoyed by a tall boy with glasses they will know as Ida Tenya in the future. The boy didn't even let Present Mike finish before calling out about something on the pamphlet. Honestly, this three didn't really give him that much attention. Each of them went to their respective field ready to take out as many robots as possible. Toga asked for some of Dabi's blood. She was gonna use his form and quirk to pass the exam. Meanwhile, Bakugo and Kirishima mentally wished each other good luck, and at the moment they heard start, the three of them ran, leaving everyone else behind. They will use any advantage they have. Toga quickly melted the robots with Dabi's powerful flames. Kirishima went through each robot like a bullet. Bakugo exploded them to bits. Everything seemed to be going great. And then the streets began to shake. Some examinees screamed about the zero-pointer. They all ran away. Bakugo kept rubble from hitting other examinees while they were running away. Kirishima helped the fallen examinees up. He ended up taking a hit from the rubble, protecting a blonde boy with a black thunderbolt in his hair. He also carried that boy to safety since he was unconscious. Toga was about to run away like the rest, but she heard a high-pitched scream. Help! She turned around, seeing a girl with short brown hair trapped under the rubble. She looked hurt. Toga couldn't help but turn around and rush to help that girl. She knew her time as Dabi was almost up, but if she could use the last seconds to do something she would. The chocolate-haired girl watched as a scarred boy that seemed to be melting into a blonde girl used flames to power herself, themselves upwards, reaching for the shoulder of the zero-pointer. What was this person trying to do? Toga landed not very gracefully on the shoulder of the bot, but landed nonetheless. She focused on keeping at least her hands as Dabi's concentrating all the firepower she had and firing directly in the neck of the bot, melting it until it fell off. Her hands sting, they were burned, but at least she saved brown hair girl. Uraraka managed to get out of under the rubble just in time to see the bot falling, and with the bot a blonde girl was falling as well. Uraraka used all her strength to reach for the girl. She feels bad that she had to slap her, but at least she managed to stop her fall. Re-release. Uraraka touched her fingertips, falling down to the ground with Toga. Both girls were exhausted. The next message was heard in all the exam arenas. Time is up, listeners. Recovery girl went to each arena healing whoever needed it. Uraraka's ankle was healed and so were Toga's palms. Here, young ladies, have this gummies, they should help restore your energy. And with that, recovery girl left. Both girls helped each other back to the entrance. They may be healed, but the gummies weren't that effective for their energy. Thanks for saving me back there, I'm Uraraka Ochako. Uraraka extended her hand and Toga didn't hesitate to shake it. After all, she always wanted female friend. Don't get her wrong, she loves Zuzu, Dabi, Shinzo and Angry Chihuahua, but she wanted a girlfriend to do whatever girlfriends do. It was nothing, I'm Toga Himiko. I should thank you, Oswell, you saved me from quite a fall. The girls talked for a while until Uraraka felt good enough to leave on her own, and now she had to wait for her friends. Sup Toga? DBI. She hugged her friend, asking many questions faster than Izuku ever has, and some of them weren't even about the exam. She was randomly saying what came to her mind. Stop that, bleached vamp. Not even Izuku can ask that many questions. Like you care, Angry Chihuahua? Kirishima couldn't help but to snort at the nickname. I trusted you, Kirishima. I like your new friend. He likes my nicknames. Dabi rolled his eyes while Kirishima was being the sunshine boy. He is already making friends with Toga. Oh, I forgot to introduce myself before the exam. I'm Kirishima Idru, nice to meet you. I'm Toga Himiko. Nice to meet you too. Don't worry, I will find you a nickname. Idru simply noted as they all walked together out of Yui. All of them were sure they would pass. Now they were on their way to Izuku to tell him everything that happened. After all, Izuku loved to hear anything their friends have to say. And then I used Dabi's flames and went whoosh right to the shoulder of the robot and melted the head off. But I ended up burning my hands a little, and I was tired and I was falling, and the girl I was trying to save slapped me, and then I had no gravity. She saved me and I saved her. It was a great way to make a new friend. To say Izuku was shocked was putting it lightly. Aren't there more safer ways to make new friends? But what's the fun in that? Himiko giggled, while Dabi and Katsuki rolled their eyes. Please tell me you did something safer, Kacchan. Yeah, I did. Just blew up rubble that was going to fall on other people. Thank God. No asking me, Zuzu? Rude. Oh, sorry. How did you do, Dabi? Well, Niza decided to test me himself, and apparently I'm more fit for third-year heroics than second. Guess flaming trash bag was useful for something. That's great, Dabi. Yeah, I guess it is. Dabi and Toga left soon to their respective rooms while Katsuki stayed. Is something the matter, Kacchan? Well, I brought someone for you to meet. I know new people is hard for you sometimes, so if you don't feel like you can do it, I can tell him to come with me another day. Izuku thought about it for a few seconds. Kacchan, it's fine. I think it will do me good to meet new people, and I'd like to meet your new friend after all. It's hard for both of us to meet new people. Don't you think? Yeah, I guess you are right, just I'll go fetch him. Katsuki went out. It took him a minute to come back with a black-haired boy. Hey. I'm Kirishima Idru, it's nice to meet you. Aizawa Izuku, nice to meet you to Kirishima-kun, and you can call B by any variable of Izuku, my friends do that. If that's the case, then I will call you Zuku. That's a new one. They talked normally for a while about heroes, mutual likings, etc. And then Izuku asked something. How did you two meet? Katsuki tensed. He didn't know how Izuku would react to him being his personal bully for 10 years, but seeing someone he didn't even know at the moment get bullied and jump to help him. Well, long story short, I was being bullied by a guy and Bakubro appeared out of nowhere to save me. He taught me how to fight and defend myself for a month and I was able to put up a fight with that mean guy and made sure he didn't bother anyone else. We just didn't want to go apart after all that. Izuku began to smile brightly. Kacchan, that was so nice of you. I'm so happy you helped someone else like that and even befriend them. Ijairus was confused. In Izuku's head something clicked. Well, when I still went to school with Kacchan, he didn't protect anyone, he was too angry to bother looking around and well something happened to me. I'm not comfortable saying what that is, sorry. It's fine, I get it, something personal. Yeah. Well, anyway, after that happened I tried to do something very, very stupid but Kacchan chose the right moment to actually look around and stop that from happening. I am very grateful he did. Katsuki wanted to cry badly. Izuku was making him look like someone who just had anger issues and simply didn't care about what happened around him, when he caused a big part of that pain, when he was a reason Izuku almost killed himself died and still the green-headed boy was trying to protect his new friendship by leaving out parts of their past. Izuku may never say what he did, but he knew and he couldn't stop the tears. I'm sorry. The other two boys looked at him with worry. Katsuki Bakugo crying is a very rare sight. I should have noticed sooner. I should have been there for you. I should have helped you get out of that situation before, but I didn't. Kacchan, you don't have to apologize. Yes, I do. I noticed some things and I still let them go. I could have saved you earlier, but I didn't. So yes, I need to apologize because I can't do more anymore. It's too late, you are already damaged because I refused to worry back then. Kirishima looked at him with worry. He never noticed Katsuki had so much bottled up. Katsuki always seemed so satisfied with himself and what he did, he never would have seen everything hidden behind that confident smile. Katsuki rubbed his eyes trying to stop the tears coming out. Izuku stood up and walked towards him, hugging him when he was close enough, making Katsuki freeze. Why? Why is he still nice to me after everything I did? It's okay, Kacchan. Maybe you couldn't do something back then, but you are doing it now. Think of all the thing you've done for me. I haven't done enough. Bakugo, you saved me from committing suicide, you have supported me in my recovery, you have been here making me smile again, you are protecting me and now you are protecting others too. Maybe your past self wasn't the best. But that isn't you anymore. The Kacchan that did all of that for me is the Kacchan of now. Katsuki hugged back like his life depended on it. The Kacchan of now is my hero. Izuku looked at Kirishima. Yeah, Bakugo, maybe your past self wasn't that nice, but the you of today is the one that saved and taught me how to defend myself and others. The you of now is also my hero. And that made Katsuki break. He didn't bother to try and control his tears anymore, honestly, he couldn't. Izuku moved his head signaling to Kirishima to also join the hug. And so he did. The three of them stayed in a hug until Katsuki could let everything out. He needed it in a way they all needed this moment. Katsuki needed to apologize, to truly show he was sorry. Izuku needed to hear it, even if he already had forgiven Kacchan. Ijaru needed to see it, know that his friend also had regrets and that even the strongest can break. A couple hours after Katsuki and Ijaru left, Hitoshi and Shoyuta came to visit him. When they arrived, Izuku was working with something that seemed to be yellow googles. Aizu. Toshi. I didn't hear you come in, I was kind of distracted working on something. Hey bunny. Aizawa ruffled Izuku's hair. We have a surprise for you? Oh, what is it? Hitoshi looked at his dad. He nodded and Hitoshi gave Izuku an envelope. What is this? Open it to find out. Izuku opened the envelope, finding a letter with the UA symbol. Is this your acceptance letter, Toshi? Not mine. Izuku was confused and decided to actually read the letter. Dear Aizawa Izuku, you have been recommended by Aizawa Shoyuta Pro Hero Eraserhead to join our academy in the support course. Usually we wouldn't have allowed this due to Aizawa being your legal guardian. However, Aiza decided to see and test some support items myself. Not only that, but I have also went over some of your sketches and future projects. There are many things I haven't thought about and I'm the smartest being on earth. I see that Aizawa's recommendation was not because of him being your legal guardian, but because of your amazing talent. I have also read all your analysis. I am quite surprised someone can dissect every single aspect of a quirk without a quirk to aid them. This only makes your abilities more impressive. I look further to seeing how your abilities will develop under my personal tutoring. I would be honored to have you as a student here in UE Academy, not only as a normal student but as my personal protégé. After seeing your talent, not only Aizawa recommended you, I have as well decided to recommend you for this school. I hope to see you soon in school grounds. Welcome to UE Academy. Izuku looked at his family with wide eyes, said family was smiling softly. When did you do this? Well, I think it was after your fourth invention. And I thought you notebooks would add nicely to your talent. Izuku smiled widely, practically jumping. Aro hugged them. Thank you so much. Well, there is also something else. Izuku broke the hug. What more can there be? Oh. You can come home with us, son. And Izuku's tears broke free. He was so happy at the moment and nothing nor anyone could change that. Boo, but what about my therapy? You will still be assisting therapy, but you are stable enough to come home with us. And yes, before you ask, you can come visit Dabi, Toga and Miss Ray anytime you want. Izuku hugged them again. He needed this. Thank you for everything. That was the first time in years he could say that word without fear, and he couldn't be happier to say it. Izuku had moved into the Aizawa's house. Finally, a place he could call home, a place that felt safe, and most importantly, a place where no one would hurt him. They had a whole week to have a routine of their own. Everything fell in place easily, like they had lived like this their whole lives. The weekend passed away in the blink of an eye, and the first day of UE was officially today. Common, you too. I know it's early, but I'm a teacher. I need to be earlier than the students. Hitoshi rolled his eyes. Like you have ever shown up to class early. Don't make me expel you before we even get there. Izuku giggled while he finally tied his tie, as best as he could at least. Soon they left to school, the brothers talking calmly, wondering how things would be like or who their classmates may be. Hitoshi was in Shuta's class, but his father wasn't going to let him be prepared for the classmates he may have. What's the fun in that? When they arrived, Hitoshi went to the class 1A. On the other hand, Shoyuta walked Izuku to Principal Niza's office. Ah, Izuku, Aizawa, please take a sit. Would any of you like some tea? Shoyuta simply said no while Izuku noted taking the cup of tea. As you know, Izuku, you are a very special case. Which means that your schedule will be constantly changing, but don't worry, I will email it to you a day before so you don't have any trouble. That is, except today, your schedule will be with class 1A. Izuku tilted his head confused after taking a sip from the tea, which was delicious by the way. You see, your guardian always does an quirk assessment test to see the level of his current class. I want you to be there and make an analysis on every single one of the students. After that you have lunch and then you come to me so I can check those analysis. Then you can go to the support department and create anything you like. Is that good for a first day? That's perfect for a first day, Principal Nizu. While saying this, Izuku smiled in a gentle and warm way. Very well then. You both are free to go now. The Aizawas left. Shoyuta went to the teacher's lounge after telling Izuku to go to the classroom and wait for him at his desk. Izuku did just that. Entering the classroom, he saw Kacchan being scolded by a tall boy with dark blue hair because he had his feet on the desk. Kacchan just rolled his eyes, not giving it much importance. He also noticed Hitoshi. To the common eye, he looked expressionless, but Izuku knew he was trying his best not to laugh at the scene of the blue-haired boy and Kacchan. As his dad told him, he went and sat down on the chair at the professor's desk, immediately gaining the attention of the blue-haired boy. Excuse me. May I ask, why are you sitting there? It's very clear that you are not the teacher. What you are doing is very disrespectful for our real teacher. I ask you to please stand up and go to your actual sit. Izuku flinched and shrinked in his seat. The loud voice of the blue-haired boy and how direct he was made him feel uncomfortable. Before Kacchan or Hitoshi could do something, Himiko walked in talking happily with her new friend Uraraka, her mood going from happy friendly to angry with the need to spill blood. In a matter of seconds she was in the personal space of the tall boy. Who do you think you are to talk to Zuzu like that? Blue hair seemed unbothered by the angry tone in Himiko's voice. I am Ida Tenya. That still doesn't give you the right to talk to him like that. Well, someone had to do it. He is being disrespectful to our future teacher. You have no way of proving that. Maybe he is meant to be there. Ida looked confused at that. Why would a student be meant to sit on the teacher's desk? That's simply illogical and pure nonsense. Oh, I will show you nonsense. Before Himiko could attempt to rip Ida's head off, Kirishima walked into the room and stepped into the middle of the fight, mostly to save Ida from Himiko's rage. Why don't we all calm down and sit down? While neither of the arguers wanted to agree on that, a yellow caterpillar opened the door and soon after fell to the floor, leaving most in shock, Hitoshi, Katsuki, Himiko and Izuku, knowing this was quite normal. All of you sit down. Everyone in class scattered as quickly as they could to their seats. Aizawa walked to his desk, giving Izuku a little smile only for him to see before turning to the class with a serious expression. It took you 8 seconds to settle down. We need to cut that time in half by the end of the year. When you are a hero, there is no time for you to lose. That being said, everyone put on your gym uniforms and meet me in the field in 10 minutes. Everyone but the brothers were confused. Soon all the members of Class 1A left to go change. Izuku and Shoyuta walked calmly onto the field, the greenette already taking notes from the people he already knew. In 10 minutes all the students were on the field. I am Aizawa Shoyuta, your homeroom teacher, and today we are going to do a quirk assessment test. Some students cheered, claiming how amazing an assessment with quirks is going to be. A girl that was completely pink saying that this should be fun, making Aizawa slightly grin before returning to his stoic expression. Fun? Are you going to have this attitude all the time? Fine, if you think it's fun, then the students who ends up last gets expelled. Izuku could hear many anguished cries from the students. His mind went to an instant solution. He wrote on a little part of his notebook. Teamwork is the easiest solution. If they work together, they could surely tie most of the students, and if the points are high enough, no one would be expelled. Everyone would prove they have potential. Bakugo, you got first place on the exam, right? Go ahead and throw the ball. Use your quirk, do whatever you want as long as you don't leave the circle. Bakugo noted, catching the ball and stepping INTL the circle. He took a deep breath and used his explosion to throw the ball. 815.20 meters. The class was shocked and amazed at the same time. In another timeline, he got a lower distance, but here he had previous training with Aizawa giving him a slight advantage. Ida had kept quiet while their teacher explained, but now he was bothered by the fact that the greenette was still in his normal uniform, sitting down and just scribbling into a notebook, so he did the most logical thing and raised his hand. Yes, Tenya? Excuse me, sir, but why is that green-haired boy not taking the test with us? And why is he not wearing the uniform when you told the class to go change? As a UE student, he should show the best behavior, and clearly he is not doing so. Aizawa sighed mentally. Not even an hour in and he was already tired. This boy is Izuku. He is not taking the test because he is not part of the class. Not only that, but he was asked by Principal Nizu himself to analyze each one of your quirks and write it down. That analysis is as important as the assessment itself. I recommend you focus on the test instead of what others are doing. Ida simply noted. Himiko grinned widely because the best father figure to ever exist shut up the boy that dared to raise his voice and scold Izuku, who is basically an angel. The rest of the class looked at Izuku with a certain fear. They didn't know why that analysis was important, but it depended on Izuku alone. When Izuku felt many eyes on him, he raised his head from the notebook to see many of the students looking at him. Once again he shrinked in his place, this time giving a small wave and a nervous smile to the class, which seemed to make most of them ease the fear they felt. First there was the 50-meter dash. Izuku began writing the names he heard on the pages, leaving 2 pages for each student. The one that seemed to do best in this category was Ida Tenya, the boy that scolded him, finishing the dash in 3.4 seconds. Pretty impressive. However, Himiko was a close second with 3.7 seconds. She is very quick and agile, she just doesn't look like it. Then it was the strength grip category, the most outstanding being a boy with a mouth mask named Shoji Mizo. His quirk seemed interesting. He would ask all of them for a quick description of their quirk after the test is over. This test was followed by the long stand jump. Many of the students were able to just go over the sandbox, while others landed within the sandbox. He wrote on how they could improve that according to the quirks he was seeing. Repeated sidestep was a quick test. The pink girl, whose name was Ashido Mina, did quite well using her acid to help her move faster. A frog-like girl named Tsuyu Ajui was the best one. Small jumps were her element apparently. In the sit-ups that were mostly for resistance, a girl with a black ponytail named Yaoyorozu Momo and a boy with bicolored hair named Todoroki Shudo did best than everyone else. The Todoroki boy immediately ringed a bell in his head. Dabi and Rei talked a lot about their family. When Izuku was on Todoroki's page, he looked at the boy with certain concern. After all, he knew how much of an a-hole Endeavor is. He made a mental note to talk with Todoroki later. The seated toe touch was just about elasticity. Once again, Todoroki and Yaoyorozu seemed to be on top of the test, Tsuyu being on the top with them. Finally, the ball throw. Uraraka Ochako, or Himiko's new best friend, did amazingly, earning an infinity score. No one could beat. A gravity quirk has so many possibilities. However, Izuku wonders if her quirk can not only make the gravity of things lower but also higher. That could be helpful if trained correctly. When the results came out, it was the invisible student named Toru Hagakure who ended up last. The girls fell to the floor crying. She was about to be expelled on her first day of school. The rest of the students looked at her with pity, but Izuku, I can't see someone cry. Aizawa rushed to her side and gave her a hug, surprising everyone. Hey, don't cry, it's okay really. Yes, you were last, but look at how many points you made. Even when your quirk wasn't made for most of this tests, that didn't stop you. Like a hero, you continued through the task even when everything was against you. The girl hugged back, sobbing a little harder. All eyes were on them. Aizawa had a proud spark in his eyes. That was his kind boy knowing what to say to make others feel better. It's all right, Hakagura, it was all a ruse. No one is getting expelled. All of the students screamed in shock and some of them complained, but Izuku blocked them all out, focusing on the girl in his arms who was now crying out happines because she wasn't going to be expelled after all. He traced small circles in her back to help her calm down. After a couple minutes, the crying seemed to stop. Feeling better? The girl noted, finally breaking the hug. Izuku stood up, helping Hagakure up as well. Thanks for that and everything you said. It's no problem, and in the end everyone gets to stay and become a hero. Izuku smiled and he guessed the invisible girls did the same because, well, it's not like he could now. You should go change now, lunch will start soon. The girl nodded, forgetting the fact Izuku couldn't see her, and left. Izuku went for his notebook and finished scribbling his analysis. Shudo was the first to get changed, avoiding any interaction with any of his classmates. He doesn't need friends to be a hero. Out of all the things that happened today, he didn't expect a boy his age be part of the assessment judges, but he didn't care. He proved to be best with only his mother's power. This morning Endeavor was more bothersome than ever, claiming that he would have been first in his entrance exam with his power, that he was lucky the other Perron that was first refused to enter the school or something the like. Honestly, he couldn't care less. It was now lunchtime, and he had to bump into someone because he couldn't just get food and be alone like he wanted now, could he? Please watch where you are going next time. You talk to your big brother like that? Shudo's eyes widened as he looked into who he bumped into, being no other than Tuya Todoroki, the brother that is supposed to be in a mental health facility and unable to get out. Tuya, what are you doing here? How? Dabi smirked. Well, I made a friend and after a lot of things I'm here. He actually is here but in the support department. However, it's lunchtime, so what do you say you come with me and you meet him? Yes, sure. Does he know that you are here? No, and oh, I am waiting hard for him to notice. His expression is going to be priceless. Now let's forget about Enduhor and let's go get some food. Shudo almost snorted at the name, forgetting about his serious persona completely. He wasn't always serious and he had so much fun with Tuya whenever he could sneak into his room. He felt like a kid again, and honestly that felt nice. Both walked towards the cafeteria, Tuya talking mostly about that new friend that got him out, that he is very nice and kind. This boy sounded like a good person and honestly he did want to meet him. After all, he is the person that got his brother out of that mental facility. There he is. Hey Zuzu. How was your day? Shudo sat down next to his brother. The table was filled with 6 of his classmates which he had no interest to interact with whatsoever. This should be fun. Hey Dabi, today has been going good, how about you? Todoroki was curious as to why they called his brother Dabi instead of his name. He could ask later. Right now the plan was to remain quiet until lunch was over. That shouldn't be so hard. Don't believe him, Dabi. A guy screamed at him today about being disrespectful or something. He didn't need to know that, Toga, said Izuku with a little whine. Maybe. But I wanted him to know. replied the energetic blonde with a smirk. He noticed the blonde with the explosive quirk, if he remembered correctly, roll his eyes at the interaction that was going on. Maybe this was normal for them. Don't you say, Toga, who is this boy? I just want to. No intimidating anyone, Dabi. No one should ever scream at you or call you disrespectful, that's like kicking a puppy. Todoroki observed Izuku, or Zuzu as his brother refers to him. He didn't seem like much really, actually he looked pretty plain and simple. Yet this boy was sent by Nizu to analyze them all. Interesting. I'm sorry to interrupt, but is anyone going to introduce Dabi? That was Infinity Girl. Oh right. You are not usually part of our squad, Rara. Dabi is a friend of all us in this table actually, he is in the 3rd year of heroics. Well, pleasure to meet you, Dabi. He saw his brother smile, like genuinely smile to a person he just met. It's a pleasure to meet you, Uraraka. You know, after the entrance exams Toga hasn't shut up about how amazing you are with your quirk and all. Dabi said this just to bother Toga and he was successful. Really? Asked Uraraka in disbelief, although she never got an answer. Shut it, overdone bacon. Tuya just laughed. Laughed at someone making fun of his burn scars. This was confusing to him. When Tuya got those scars he hated them and now he can just laugh about it? Todoroki didn't think he could just laugh about the scar he had, it just didn't seem possible. As the conversation went on he noticed Izuku looking at him, like he wanted to say something and yet he kept silence and looked away. Odd. Everyone seemed to be getting along and then the bell ringed to signal that lunchtime was over. That was way too fast. I have to get going, I'll see you later, guys. Tuya stood up, ruffling Izuku's hair, which in his opinion was already a mess, and then he ruffled his own. Tuya, why? Because I can show, enjoy the rest of your day. And just like that he left. Soon the purple-haired boy, that looked suspiciously too much like Aizawa-sensei, stood up. Let's go, Aizawa won't like us being late. Everyone agreed and stood up. He let all of them go ahead and he noticed Izuku staying behind on Porpoise. I would have talked to you sooner, but it seems like you didn't want to talk to any of them, so I decided to wait until they left. Maybe it was more comfortable for you that way. Izuku was observant to notice that he didn't want to speak to anyone, even if Izuku was talking to him right now. I just heard a lot of you from Dabi and I'm glad I can finally meet you. Aizawa said it, but I should introduce myself. Hi, I'm Izuku. The greenette extended his hand for Todoroki to shake it, which he did just to be respectful. After all, Tuya approved of this boy, so maybe he could try and get to know him just a bit. Todoroki Shoto. Izuku smiled. Well, it's a pleasure to finally meet you, Todoroki-kun. I won't take more of your time. If Aizawa tells you anything about it, just say it was my fault. You are not coming back to class? He didn't really want to talk, yet he was curious as to why this boy wasn't coming along. Oh no, my schedule is set different every day. I need to go to the support department now. That's actually the department I belong to. I hope to see you around. Why did this boy's schedule change daily? If he belonged to the support department, why was he sent by Nizu to analyze them? How did he meet Tuya? He had many questions, but before he could ask any of them, Izuku was already gone. He simply went to class after that. He got there in time. When Izuku arrived to the support department, all eyes were set on him. In 1A he felt more confident because his friends were there, but here, he is on his own. You must be Izuku, right? Izuku nodded at Power Loader. Don't worry, Nizu informed me about you. That's your seat. Izuku nodded once again and took his seat. This classroom was different to the hero department's one. Here the desks were bigger, clearly meant to be worked on. There are tools in each table for the students and a lot of materials to work with as well. I want all of you to make the blueprints for anything you want, and if possible start building it. Izuku's mind immediately thought about why Power Loader was asking for this. He wants to know what we are capable of, which students can design faster than others. That way he can prepare a teaching plan for everyone to reach the same level. The blueprints were done in a heartbeat. He had this idea for a while and he had actually made some sketches before in his notebook while he was still in the hospital. The idea was quite simple. At least in Izuku's eyes it was. This were some new goggles for Aizawa since the ones he had right now weren't the most practical. This goggles still maintained Eraserhead's essence, that bright yellow color that his dad seems to like so much. However, this ones will look more like the ones of a pilot. Izuku knows that Aizawa depends a lot on his hero gear and the element of surprise, but he never knew why his goggles weren't designed to protect his eyes. He knew it wasn't because he couldn't use his quirk if there was a glass in the way. He saw him do that during trainings, so that couldn't be it. Plus, the goggles could provide more help. Perhaps adding heat vision could give him a better understanding of the battlefield, but it shouldn't be active at all times. That could be straining for Aizawa's sight. Maybe he could use a voice command that only worked with his father's voice. Izuku thought about a dinga mechanism that would automatically spray the eye drops Aizawa uses, but ended up discarding the idea since that could end up hurting his eyes more than actually helping. He decided to remain with the simpler design the pilot glasses with one-way see-through glass so no one could notice where his father was looking at, plus the heat vision modification activated by voice. For now that should work, and he could upgrade it in the future if he thought of anything new or if his dad suggested something. By the end of the class, most if not all of the students finished their blueprints. Just a few of them started working on the prototype, but just 2 of them managed to finish their first invention in class, one being Izuku and the other being a very energetic pink-haired girl. Power Loader congratulated everyone on their progress and dismissed the class. Izuku began to pack his things to leave, having a special care with the new goggles, when the pink-haired girl slammed her hands against his desk, making him give a little jump. Was she angry? No, she is smiling, so that can be it. Maybe I offended her? No, that doesn't make sense either. Perhaps this is her way of being friendly? The pink-haired girl spoke maybe a little too loudly, making Izuku jump again. Hey Freckles! Are you even licensing? She has been talking to him all this time and he has been ignoring her. And no, I'm sorry about that. My name is Aiza-. But he was interrupted. Who cares? That's not important right now. Izuku is unsure of how to socialize someone. Please help this child. What did you build, Freckles? Oh, she was just interested in my invention. Well, they are an update for Eraserhead's goggles. The ones he owns right now are not the best he could have. They have heat vision and one-way see-through glass. The heat vision activates by voice, so only he can do it. They also provide more protection from debris or dust so he can keep his eyes open longer during fights. Izuku explained his invention while the girl remained quiet, listening with interest. That was fast for an hour and a half. I'm Hatsume. And you, Freckles, seem to be the only worthy ally in this classroom, since only you were the only other person able to finish in such a short time. Ally? Izuku wasn't understanding much of what this girl was talking about, so he just let out a small and confused, thanks. Then May proceeded to ramble about her own invention, or well, her baby as she called it. This baby will be able to give an amazing support to those with a speed quirk, especially since it adjusts to the user. Speaking about quirks, what's yours? Mine is zoom. My pupils can zoom, and that's really helpful for building. Ah, there it was, the question Izuku hates the most, but he can't just avoid it forever. I'm quirkless. May just stared at him blankly like a cat, and Izuku's mind was spiraling with anxiety because this girl probably doesn't want to be her friend anymore, or she probably thinks less of him now. Maybe he won't be an ally anymore. That train of thought was stopped thanks to May's words. You mean to tell me you work as fast as me without the aid of a quirk? Izuku nodded. Now you are just more valuable than before, Freckles. I must have you as an ally. We could create the biggest support company ever. That he didn't see coming. For some reason, Izuku just seemed to attract 2 sorts of people, really energetic sunshines or sarcastic and tired emos. May followed him around talking about how they could make an empire if they started making connections with the other courses and how they could use that to improve and sell their babies, to which Izuku just nodded since May did have some good points. He walked with her until he reaches his friends. There was the familiar squad being Toga, Kacchan, Dabi, Toshi, and the relatively new Kirishima. There was also the seemingly new members Uraraka, Hagakure, and Todoroki. Of course, Toga was the first one to introduce herself to May, and it just escalated from there. Apparently there was going to be yet another new member to their squad since May did wanted connections with the hero course and Izuku had provided just that. Izuku smiled at the scene. Everyone was happy, just chatting with each other and getting along. Todoroki still seemed hesitant to talk to others, but that's okay. After all, Izuku knows what it feels like to want to stay quiet and be left alone. All thing considered, his first day at UA was perfect, and hopefully the second would be just as perfect. The second day at UE wasn't as hectic as the first. Nizu sent him to Buttes and analyze Class 1B just like he did with 1A. The only difference he could notice was that this class wasn't that stressed. Then again, they weren't threatened with being expelled, so they didn't really have a reason to be worried. Izuku had to admit his dad's methods were a little too harsh, but they worked. Class 1A gave all his effort during the test while 1B only had fun testing their abilities. It was nice not having to get out of his comfort zone to comfort someone like he did with Hagakure. Not that he minded doing so, he would do it again if he had to, but staying quiet and scribbling down notes on his notebook had always felt safer, and after such a tragic life he liked that feeling of safety. Izuku was never one to not like people. He would usually try to see the good in everyone, Kacchan being the greatest example of that, but the blonde boy that could copy quirks for at least 5 minutes and one at a time was getting to his nerves. Instead of focusing on himself and how to improve his abilities, he was complaining about Class 1A and how they were overrated. Izuku could understand that the boy was jealous, but it seemed that even his classmates were getting annoyed by him. Usually Izuku would have simply let it slide, but he made one mistake. I even heard of a girl that needs to drink blood to activate her quirk. How creepy and disgusting is that? If anything, I'd call it villainous, and she shouldn't be in the hero course. He talked bad about his sister. Izuku stood up, opening his notebook, speaking louder than he usually would. Any shyness he had was completely ignored. Monoma Nito, quirk copy. The user can copy the quirk of anyone he touches as long as that quirk does not depend on any physical change. The user can only copy one quirk at a time for a PRD of 5 minutes. After that time limit is over, the quirk will be lost until the user touches a new person. All eyes were on Izuku, but he didn't care. He was only looking at Monoma. What are you dash? Before he could continue, the green-haired boy interrupted. I'm sorry, but I wasn't finished. I know it's a little hard for you, but show some respect and wait until I have finished. Monoma shut his mouth. Of course he had something to say, but the icy glare in the eyes of the freckled boy that came into the class that morning with a warm and kind look made him stay quiet. As I was saying, hero potential in the current situation 5 out of 10. The time limit, amount of quirks the user can possess at a time, and his ability to use them limits his potential as a hero. The user can improve with training. Well, that didn't sound so bad. Of course the blonde didn't like his hero potential defined by this child so low, but he didn't say anything bad about him. However, improvement will be unsuccessful as the user is unable to focus on their own progress and ability. Instead, they focus on the abilities and progress of the people around him, not to learn and improve but to judge and belittle when he himself isn't much better than them. In fact, he is even below them. Everyone was silent. Not even Vlad King dared to step in and quiet the boy or ask his reason for exposing Monoma's notes specifically. Monoma never thought he could be intimidated by this kid, but his eyes expressed a fiery anger while remaining completely cold. The reason of this is a probable superiority complex, as the user tries to make others seem less than what they truly are. Not only that, but he is actively trying to make others think like he does, just so he can feel better about himself and about his quirk, along with training therapy is advised. With that, Izuku closed his notebook, watching the mixture of emotions going through Monoma's face, but the most prominent one was anger, which in reality was a facade to cover his shame. What gives you the right to say that about me? Don't you dare give that to Nizu or Dash. Izuku raised an eyebrow. Or what? There wasn't an immediate answer. Monoma was thinking about what to say. Will you speak badly behind my back? Belittle a quirk I don't have? Try to take the notebook Nizu himself asked me to write so he could give you all the best education and help possible? Do tell me, Monoma, what exactly will you do? It was almost a defying tone. Dabi and Toga would be proud. Hell, even Aizawa would be proud of his kid right now putting someone petty in their place. Monoma was going to strike low. A quirk I don't have? That meant the kid was quirkless and so he could attack their right? Wrong? You are quirkless? Then why would Nizu even put you in charge of assessing us? You are clearly not good to Butte's quirks when you don't even have 1 inch. Izuku let his face fall just to see Monoma smirk victorious, only to smirk and let out one single laugh. Because unlike you who has a quirk, I am competent with what I do. He took a step forward to Monoma. I don't care who do you think you are to talk badly about others like you do, because let me tell you, getting into Yui doesn't make you special. Just like you got accepted, you can get kicked out and replaced. Just because you got in doesn't mean you will have everything handed to you. You will have to fight for it. He kept approaching and he was getting to close. Monoma did step back. You are sour about not getting into 1A? Though luck buddy, they worked hard to get where they are, they saw the flaws in their quirks and worked to turn them into strengths. Talking bad about their quirks, especially when you don't know the struggle that put them through, won't get you higher in the ranks. If anything, it will get you to the bottom of it in the blink of an eye. The blonde boy kept backing up, but Izuku didn't seem to be stopping. A blood quirk is villainous? Are you even aware of who your teacher is? And what about your own copy quirk? A lot of people could see it as villainous, and by the look in your eyes I know they already have, and yet here you are repeating history. Have a piece of advice. Focus on yourself before you judge others, because believe me, you will only make yourself enemies if you don't. What kind of hero makes other heroes their enemies? One that will get destroyed the first day on the field because they won't have no one to back them up. Monoma hit his back with a tree, completely speechless. Izuku closing up, murmuring just for him to hear, "Don't talk bad about my sister ever again." That being said, the sweet Izuku everyone saw that morning was back. I think my work is over now, Vlad-sensei. I will take my notes to Nizu now. Keep up the good work, heroes. The notes I have taken today will be useful to adjust the perfect training for each and every one of you. However, I do have some advice. Do not take any of the testing as games. Being a hero is not a game. One mistake could be the end of your careers or the end of your life, so please don't take this lightly. And with that he left, everyone giving an acknowledging nod. Seeing him go to what they assumed was Nizu's office, everyone will feel chills the next time they see Izuku. Izuku really thought he wouldn't run into more trouble that day. If he was being honest, he had no idea where the courage to put Monoma in his place came from, but he could say he didn't regret doing so in the Slickless. Lunchtime came around and he was trying to look for his siblings and his friends. He was walking through the always near the bathroom when he heard a girl screech at someone to get away from them. That set alarms in Izuku's head immediately. He sent a message to his dad telling him to come to the girl bathrooms of the 3rd floor since there seemed to be trouble. After that he entered the bathroom to see a tall girl with a black ponytail with a hand stuck to the wall by a purple ball. In front of her was a very short boy with hair that seemed to match that purple ball. "Don't worry, I promise I won't do anything, I just want to see." Izuku felt his heart race. He remembered when he was paralyzed, when someone used him for his own entertainment and pleasure. He won't let anyone go through that if he can help it. "And I promise that you won't do or see anything. Get away from her now." The small boy was surprised, turning around immediately thinking it was someone scary and that would beat him up, but to him the freckled boy didn't seem like much. "Oh, come on, man. Just let me do this. You can even join and see with me too. I don't mind sharing." The girl looked at the new boy terrified, but she was lucky Izuku wasn't some sick bastard. "I told you to get away from her, wasn't I clear enough? He just had to buy some time for Eraserhead to get here and get this predator expelled." The purple-haired boy didn't seem happy with that reply at all. "Look, you can go, just mind your business then. You can pretend you didn't see me and everyone is happy." He turned away from Izuku, and of course our hero wouldn't stand by and let this happen. He grabbed the small boy by the shoulder and pulled him back, standing between him and the girl that upon a closer look he could recognize as one of the 1A kids. Aizawa was going to be even more sad at this truth because he decided to attack one of his kids. Not that he wouldn't get sad if it wasn't one of his new batch of kids, but you know, he cares for them more than he would like to admit. The short pervert was done negotiating with this kid trying to play hero, and he simply stuck his feet to the ground, and Izuku found out he couldn't move them. "Now you can't do anything." The victory lasted him 2 seconds because he saw the freckled boy who interrupted him smile. "That's true, but he can." Before anyone could blink, Aizawa entered the bathroom with bright red eyes, his capture gear going straight at the... "He is right, you are getting expelled, and if Miss Yayarosa decides to do so, you are also going to get arrested for harassment," the teacher snarled. He has always hated this type of people, and his hate only incremented after what happened to his now son. After making Mineta free the 2 kids, he got him back into the capture gear. "Izuku, I will take him to Nizu's office to explain the situation and deal with him. Please take Miss Yayarozu with Recovery Girl to make sure everything is fine." Izuku gave a small smile. "Of course, Dad. Come on, Yayarozu-san. Don't worry about taking too much time with Recovery Girl and missing lunch. Dad will understand if you are late for his next class or if you don't go back at all." For now Momo nodded, following Izuku, who walked as slow as she was to make sure she never felt alone and left behind. This made her feel insecure and like the whole world would go after her like Mineta did. Izuku understood that more than anyone. Momo on the other hand didn't know why she was heading to the infirmary to begin with. She wasn't hurt in any way, it was mostly the fear of being in a situation like that and feeling so helpless. She would have used her quirk, but she trained a little too much that morning and she didn't feel she had enough fat to use her quirk in the first place. Was it her fault for not being ready? She is training to be a hero, she can't become a liability like this. Yaoruzo-san, your breathing is getting unsteady, I need you to focus on my voice for now, okay? I know what sort of thoughts you are going through right now. I've been there, but please, I need you to focus on me before you spiral into a panic attack. She didn't even notice her breathing was changing. They arrived to Recovery Girl without a panic attack, starting thanks to Izuku. When the nurse asked what happened, Momo stayed quiet. She didn't feel like she could talk about it. Would you like me to tell her? Or you can also write what happened to her. If you don't feel right now, you don't have to. Izuku felt like a blessing because he knew how to deal with all of this. Momo had yet to process that this kind-hearted boy had gone through something like this. Her mind just isn't catching up yet. She nodded, but she realized that didn't exactly answer what she wanted to do. If you want me to tell her, raise one finger. If you would rather write it, then raise two. She raised one. Okay. If you need me to stop talking at any point, or if I get something wrong, just tap me on the shoulder and we will figure it out from there. To what I know, Yaoruzo-san headed into the bathroom and a boy that Aizawa called Mineta ambushed her. He had a quirk related to his hair. From what I could gather, it can stick to anything and only he could get it off. I heard her scream for him to get away and I entered the bathroom to help. Dad came restrain him and he sent us here. Is that correct? Did anything else happen? If something else did happen, it's normal to feel ashamed, but hiding it won't make it go away. On the long run, it will just hurt you more than it already has. Momo shook her head. Thanks to Izuku, nothing else happened, and she couldn't be more thankful about it. After that, Recovery Girl nodded and made a checkup just to make sure she was completely well physically. Izuku could be a lot more help on the psychological aspect. Recovery Girl gave Izuku a nod as a way to say he could deal with the situation. If he got overwhelmed by his own experience, she would make sure to step in. For now, he will let the freckled boy do his magic. Izuku sat near Momo, leaving at least 30 centimeters between them just to make sure he wasn't invading her space. I know you don't want to talk, but no, to deal with this I need you to tell how you feel. You can take your time. I don't need an immediate answer. I need an answer when you are ready to give it, okay? Yaoruzo nodded. She just wanted to get this over with and speak, and at the same time she wanted to forget anything even happened. Keep quiet and forget about it. Izuku waited patiently, dangling his feet from the chair for 15 minutes until Yaoruzo felt like talking. You already know what happened. What else do you want me to say? She thought that would be all. There wasn't really much else to say. Well, I want to know how you felt then, how you feel now, and what is going through your head right now. Remember, you can take all the time that you need. Classes or lunch don't matter right now. What matters is how you are doing right now. The girl remained quiet for a few more minutes before answering. I felt scared and weak. And helpless, like a liability. She looked at Izuku, hoping that her answer was correct, like there was some way to feel wrong. The boy only gave her an encouraging nod. Right now, even when I know I'm safe, I still feel like that. She remained quiet after that. Okay. All that you're feeling right now is completely normal, even when there is no longer a threat nearby, because at some point of time that threat existed. Now this next question may seem like an obvious answer, but I need you to think beyond the obvious. Why do you think what happened made you feel like that? There is no wrong answer, Yaoruzo-san. Just answers. Momo knew the obvious answer was because someone tried to assault her, but Izuku asked her to think beyond that, and she tried. Because I was powerless to do anything. I am a hero in training. I'm not supposed to be helpless. I'm supposed to be the one helping. I shouldn't be the victim that will only turn me into a liability. I had a quirk that could have helped me out of that situation, and I didn't use it because I overused it this morning. I was too weak to use it again. Izuku nodded in an understanding manner. Okay, I understand that point of view, Yaoruzo-san, I really do, but I can't agree with it. Yes, you are a herp in training, but before that you are human. Feeling scared, weak, helpless, and any other feeling is justified because you are human, a human put through a stressful situation they should have never been in the first place. Izuku's eyes were kind and understanding. They made Momo feel more at ease. I know being a victim is something someone wishes they weren't, that if they are a victim that automatically made them helpless, but that's not true. It's the complete opposite actually. He moved a little bit closer, just enough to reach for Momo's hand in a comforting manner. being a victim means someone tried to hurt you and that they may have sucked, and yes, that's bad, but it also means you survived, even when someone tried to harm you. You still managed to stand up and keep going. It means that you didn't give up despite the circumstances. The words felt so true to Momo, like he was talking from experience. One should never look forward to being a victim of anything, but we can't decide if we will or not become victim of a situation. What we can do is understand that what happened wasn't your fault. Maybe if something was done different, then things would have turned out in another way, but we can't think about the what-ifs of something that already happened. We have to think of the what now of what already happened. Izuku squeezed Momo's hand gently before letting it go. Being a victim doesn't mean you are less than the rest. It means you went through a rough situation and you still pulled through. He looked at her directly in her eyes with a warm smile. I know hearing this won't immediately change your mind. The only way for you to believe in what I'm saying is by reaching that conclusion yourself, but knowing that someone else believes on you and that they will be there to help you at your own pace does help you a lot. You can trust me on that one. Momo wanted to ask what he meant exactly, but she didn't know if that would be the right thing to do. Izuku stood of giving Momo even more personal space. Right now you can choose to go to the cafeteria, have some lunch and then go back to your classes, or go home and take the rest of the day to process what happened and what I told you. Whatever you do is up to you. Choose depending on how you are feeling. Okay. Like, do you think you can handle being surrounded by a lot of people right now or not? Please take all the time you need to make your decision. However, whatever Momo chose, it wouldn't matter because she was going to be sent home regardless. Both teams were surprised by a loud alarm telling them to evacuate the building. Someone breached Yui's security. Hello everyone, I suppose it's been a long time and this update may be more disappointing than what you expected. When I began this story, I was really into the BGMI, but slowly I fell out of it and I just didn't feel the passion to continue this story. Most of the time I would use small little concepts and move on from there. I still have some of the concepts I wanted to use in this story initially, showing how the supportive relationship between Izuku, Toga and Dabi made them stronger to face their own fears and past. During the USJ arc, Izuku was sent to analyze best strategies used by the heroes and see how they could be implemented. I didn't decide whether Ida would get him out as he escaped or if Izuku would remain and decipher something to help them win. Perhaps his kindness could stop the Nomu like a Disney princess only for a moment just for funsies, or maybe the Nomu recognized him as another Nomu because of the emotional pain he could feel. Dabi would stand off against Endeavor, completely cutting any relationship he had with him. Todoroki would have been divided into following his brother's footsteps or still try to spite his dad. Izuku was meant to help with this. His kind personality and insight thanks to Dabi would help Todoroki understand this wasn't about his family, it was about him and what he wanted to do, not what everyone expected of him. In other words, do things for himself rather than prove a point to others whether they are worth his time or not. This kind personality and support would eventually draw them into a love story. I want to make a statement that they would not bond over the past trauma, but about how they helped each other heal and get the help they truly needed. Your partner is not your therapist. Izuku was meant to do an invisibility cape of sorts with the help of Hagakure. In the future he would use it to save Eri by mere accident, recognizing an abused child by his own experience. There was a funny scene where he was carrying Eri in his arms and called Aizawa, saying something along the lines of, "Hey dad, I think I kidnapped a child," and Aizawa just hangs up because he doesn't have the energy for it. While I wasn't completely sure how to use the training camp, I knew Izuku and Koda would have a better relationship since he wasn't a hero, still being slightly angry that he wanted to help heroes but wondering if someone like Izuku existed before, his parents would still be here. Izuku was going to camp with the analysis excuse as well. A lot of my work, if not all, is improvised as I go. I truly don't feel motivated to continue writing and I truly doubt I will, but this doesn't have to be the end. If you feel that you can do it, you are free to take it from where I left on and continue on. Use my ideas, ignore them completely or change them as you will. I am not sure how orphaning works, but if it means I can stop being the creator and someone else will pick it up, I am more than willing to do so. I'm sorry if you expected me to go on, but I would rather pass it on to someone still passionate about the fandom than working on it myself and make it a lifeless work. Thank you for reading this if you did. I hope someone wants to continue what I started. Give this story the ending it deserves instead of an infinite hiatus or a cancellation. That's the last of me you'll hear from this. Before I leave, I truly want to thank you if you read this, left a kudo or left a comment saying you liked the story or advising me into things I could do, while I was still interested in writing this story that truly made the difference. You made a difference in the best way you could. I truly loved and appreciated everyone who followed this story, and I hope someone can give you the ending you deserve. Thank you all for everything.